I know you don't smoke weed. I know this. But I'm gonna get you high today. Cause it's Friday.
Yes.
You ain't got no job.
Yes.
And you ain't got shit to do.
You got tired of hitting that button, I see.
Hey, man. Gotta work on things.
Y'all didn't want to do it live. He done programmed it, man.
Yeah, because sometimes I was a little off sometimes.
I thought that added character. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
It is motherfucker on the control board.
You know, we engineers, baby. We try to improve the process.
Yeah, you know, a little ingenuity. What the bros know about it?
Already. And just like that, we back. It's your boy, Ivy Joe.
It's your boy, Just King. It was happening.
And we are hot takes and half truths.
Where the agreeable go to disagree. There will be some disagreements on today's episode.
I believe so. It may be a little bit. Just a few. I mean, you know how it is.
This is a significant event of disagreements scheduled for this this podcast. So
Yes.
So how you been, man? Shit.
busy as fuck. But yeah, man, just busy. The side projects, got the new position, so that's been keeping me hella busy. Yeah, when I'm at the job. So blessed, man. Blessed to be getting a position in a time like this. So I'm not trying to take nothing for granted. So just trying to put in that work, man, and get up to speed as quick as possible. So what about yourself?
Yeah, I've just been chilling, man. I mean, slow motion. I mean, a lot of what I'm doing is, particularly with the new position, can't get out the house. But, you know, I've been trying to, you know, keep myself busy, as you can see. New improved JKM studio.
Yeah, this man said he been chilling, but if you're watching on YouTube, you know, some subtle differences.
Yeah. Try to, you know, improve, you know, the situation we was in, maybe be a little more productive overall. But I thought it was time to, you know, put a little more money into it. You know, got the dual screens now.
You definitely put some money up. So, yeah, man, I like the setup, man. I think it looks good. You know, it's spacious.
A couple more things we need to do, but I like where it is right now.
Yeah, nah. I think it's dope, man. It's dope. You sent me kind of the carcass of it the other day.
Yeah,
so when
so
I walk in today and I see extra, I'm just like, oh, like that.
So yeah, and then like the funny thing. So originally I had it long way this way, going this way.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on this side, like during the day, and just so happened I was getting up, and I rolled too much. I was like, I can see myself going through the window. I was like, we gotta change this. Like either
that's
me,
a design flaw.
yeah, either me or someone is gonna do this. Ain't gonna go too far. And I was like, nah, we gotta do that. I see that already.
I like to think we wouldn't be recording a podcast with the door wide open.
No,
but
well, I'm not even. I'm talking about going through the fucking glass. I'm not talking
well,
about
that would be a bad day.
Exactly. So I was like, nah, let me go ahead and try to get on top of that. Especially since it kind of scared me. I was like, ooh. It was one of those type of roles where like, oh, that could have went bad.
Okay.
But yeah,
no
man.
doubt, man. Well, I love the setup, man. I ain't even gonna front, man. It seems, as you say, the dual screen and having everything kind of in front of both of us at one time. I know before you had your computer, I usually had my laptop on the side, but
we still got ample amount of room to do that.
yeah. I'm excited for, you know, the extra space for the additional boom. So if we bring somebody in, you just slide a couple chairs down and then boom, we in there. So
got one more I need to get, but yes, it's coming.
I think it's dope, man. You did a hell of a job, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I go ahead, take that one.
Big yourself up. Big up.
So with that said, man, what have you been listening to? Anything new?
Yeah, quite a few new stuff came out. So since we last talked, I mean, the Division album, Fire, that's been on repeat, really. Division, yeah, DVSN. Division, it's like an R&B album, Amusing Her Feelings, so that's been dope. Future just dropped on Friday, so I was kind of out in the garage working late night Friday and yesterday morning, so that's been bumping during that time. That's pretty much it, man. Some loosies here and there. Let me see what else I got.
A lot of that, like that MegAndBeyonce shit. Beyonce been like, I don't know, I don't want to take no shot to anyone. I don't know who's writing it, but she's been like really killing it of lately. Like,
yeah,
she's very witty.
Got a hood side.
She's
too.
been very like her lines have been more witty of late. I don't know if that
and relevant and current.
Yes.
So definitely.
Like yes.
Yeah, that whole she might start her OnlyFans or something like that. Like, it's witty. Yes. It shows, she still got an ear to the streets, and I kind of like that, man, because it juxtaposes her against what people I think try to paint her as, and I like that she can put that out there and have that kind of adventurous side and still be married. You know what I'm saying? Wink, wink. Hopefully my baby listening. So,
yes,
lady in the streets, but a freak in the bed. You know what I'm saying?
I got you, baby.
So, but yeah, shout out to her, Meg Thee Stallion, Doja Cat, and Nicki Minaj, because I think them four are like top 1 and 2 on Billboard for the charts right now.
I didn't hear Nicki's song, but
it's Doja Cat's song. It's a remix
okay.
to that Say So song or whatever with Nicki on it. It's 1 and 2. Her Doja, Nicki, and then Beyonce or Meg Thee Stallion and Beyonce is 1 and 2 for those 2 songs. So shout out to them, beautiful black women, killing shit. Big ups to y'all.
Yes.
And I also been listening to FredHammond, man, taking it back. So yeah, I got FredHammond back here, man. The Inner Court, FredHammond, Radical for Christ, 1995, man. Had to bring back memories with that.
Gotcha.
That jump, man. Felt like Saturday morning, mom with the vacuum was out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's all I've been into. What you been listening to?
Like I said, bro, that Meg. I think I might have mentioned it before, but I really like that Usher one that he did with Summer. Was it Summer Walker?
Okay, I actually haven't heard that song.
He has one with Summer Walker, and then there's one where another one of the young chicks took one of his songs. I really like those 2 remakes. And other than that, man,
a lot of people have been taking his song lately. Summer took his song. She took, I forget which one it was, but she took one on her album. Division took one, Nice and Slow. So Division flipped Nice and Slow with Snow Allegra on it. That's on their album. That's a joint. That's literally what I was listening to when I dialed into your gate. That's what was playing. But yeah, I got to check out that Summer and Usher. I don't think I heard that song actually. But if you listen to it, then I know it's got to have something. Got to have a little substance to it if you listen to it.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it. Sure. It's one of the ones I don't use. So my routine is usually around 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'll log out, go on the balcony. Have lately moved the screen so I can watch TV. But then I'll do a little bit of YouTubing. Listen to some interviews from the day. Look up different interviews or whatnot, and then when I get tired of it, I end with some songs, and those 2 songs tend to end up in the rotation. Let me hear this shit, man. That shit, it goes hard.
Well, you got to put that Division on because you're gonna put that album on loop.
Okay.
That's a no skips kind of album, man.
What's the I guess with the Future? Which one? Any banger on that one? Which one should you be looking for?
I can't say right now because I was really just working more than anything. I just had it on because I remembered it came out, so I have to sit with that. I wasn't paying no attention to it whatsoever. It sounds, I don't want to say typical Future, but it's definitely his music. It's his music when it's on, right? So as far as if he got some joints on there, I'm sure there are. There was definitely some beats that'll make you nod your fucking head off, But as far as the actual substance and stuff and what he talking about and all that, I didn't get all into that yet. So we'll see. I don't even know what it's called. I didn't even save it to my phone. I didn't add it or nothing. I just hit play, put it on repeat, and then I put.
I've definitely been seeing it. It's on top of my. I've been seeing it on IG a lot.
It's called, High Off Life or something like that.
So it's there. It's just
It's Future, man. So it's he gonna have some joints on there, but yeah, High Off Life is what it's called. But it is what it is.
All right, well, moving on, man. I guess we get to the drink of the week. We're gonna. I know I'm definitely gonna pull up. Gonna circle back to a previous drink of the week since it was so good to us then. 4 Roses, small batch, bourbon whiskey.
It is. First time drinking with somebody in a long time. You know what I'm saying? Yes. It's awkward. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So what you want to jump into first, man?
That's pretty good.
Man, nice ass tables, man. Come on.
Yeah, baby. You know, I got the coasters out, baby. So
you can't have nice things right here.
You know, I got the coasters out,
Why
baby.
you can't have nice things?
I guess we go ahead and start with the recent Fed move. I mean, it's kind of, I guess it's, you know, going to be a quick topic for the most part because, you know, I don't really have much to go into it. It's just more or less me, I guess, on my soapbox again. But in the last week, the Fed moved to buy $750 billion, and that's the Federal Bank, who's over our monetary policy in the country. They moved to start a policy that's never been done before under the Fed, which is to buy corporate debt, and they bought $750 billion of it. And while most of it will be, I guess, what they would call investment grade, they are going to also include some junk bonds. And they've tasked BlackRock, which is the largest investment bank, I guess you would call it, in the world, to run the program. I guess, you know, for all intents and purposes, my issue with that kind of goes back to, you know, the policy agenda that going private. Well, I guess what I really want to say is that, you know, we always prop up failing businesses. And I think in a capitalistic society, that's what we should allow them to do. If they're not in a position to be successful, why are we propping these banks or these institutions up? If you're truly a capitalistic society, then you allow those people that's not, you know what I'm saying, making good on their shareholder value and providing value to their shareholders to go the way of the dodo bird. And in this way, which I don't really like, is now we're playing in the stock market, which is already, you know, it's for all intents and purposes, it's like going to fucking Vegas. You're gambling.
It is.
And not only are we going to, like, I could probably stomach it a little better if it was all investment grade, but just the mere fact that, something's going to be junk bonds. I'm like,
why do you think that is? Why do you think that's included in that?
I mean, I'm sure you got to have them, you know, whenever you do stocks, you want to have a balance. So, you know, you want to have what they call a diverse portfolio.
Yeah. But I mean, I look at it like they're buying ETFs, right? So they're not buying stocks, individual stocks. So it's not like they're going out and saying, hey, Ford is low on this quarter because they halted production. We're buying.
So they will be in there.
Yeah.
A lot of instances
So
will be in there.
So, you know, you're going to have some good performers, some heavy hitters, and then you're going to have some smaller guys that, you know, and when they say junk bonds, if we're talking the ratings, right, that some of these companies get, they're not going to be your AA rated or whatever, right? You might have some C's and C pluses in there, which you're still a company. You're still able to get graded. So it's not like you or me going to get some money, you know, me from my little garage, you know, garage projects that I got going on. I'm not getting paid from this, right? Still some companies and all that, it's just, they're not all Apple and Amazon. In essence is what it comes down to, I think.
But
I think that is, you know, I think that they're included in there also because it seems like they want to roll this out quick. So I don't think they're going to do a whole lot of vetting of the securities that they're going to buy. That's why they tasked this company with doing it. So that company's going to say, okay, which one is a pretty good performer? We'll go with them, right? And they'll, you know, be able to kind of hedge their losses and stuff, right, to protect against them. But in doing that, right, if you want things to be expedient, you can't be thorough, right? Or it can't be cost effective. It's one of the three.
Yeah.
Right? It's a triangle. Cinti's triangles. If you want it fast, you're either going to pay for it or the quality is going to be bad. So what you want, but you don't get all three. So they seem to want this to roll out kind of quick. So that kind of stood out to me, is that, okay, they want to put some money in the market so that, you know, companies don't completely go belly up. And to your comment about, you know, let them go belly up, this is kind of a interesting predicament that we're in which technically everyone could go belly up at once, or a lot of the market could go belly up at once, right? And it's not for lack of operation.
Yep.
It's not for a lack of it's not because of how they ran the business. It's completely external forces.
True. Okay.
Right. So, mother's calling me. Sorry about that, YouTube and SoundCloud. But Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Shout out to Twitter, man. I love Twitter. I don't really.
Yes.
Let me not ostracize myself. But shout out to Twitter, man. Shout out to everybody fucking with us on Twitter. But yeah, so I agree with them propping up the market just because it is completely external, which has affected the market right now for the most part. So I don't really see nothing wrong with it in this regard. Now, when the market crashed back in like 2008 and they was propping up like Ford and all them boys, I guess that was kind of external too, because it was more the housing that led for a lot of stuff to crash, and Ford ain't had nothing to do with that housing. But they was doing stated income on vehicles too, so y'all was complicit in a way. It just the houses went under before y'all did. But having lost my job in that, I've already told this story. I kind of see why they did it, you know, after the fact, and that I didn't realize the auto industry, you know, spanned so wide. So you kind of got to help them out, man, because we don't understand how some of these manufacturing companies or companies that provide something like an iPhone, how many like areas they actually touch outside of just Apple. Somebody's got to assemble it. Somebody's got to, you know, source the materials and make the materials. Somebody's got to process the materials. Like their reach spans wide. So if you don't prop them up, you know, it's not just Apple has 20,000 and they lose their 20,000 employees.
I'll give you that. But at the same time, when you focus on stock pricing or the stock market, you are effectively protecting, you know, for all intents and purposes, the higher ups and companies. If if you believe in the stats that 85% of the stock market is owned by, I think, about 10% of the people.
It's gonna be. Where are you getting these statistics?
Well, they talk about that on CNBC.
Okay. I mean, I don't disagree with that. That's like how much wealth is circulating amongst 5%ers or whatever, you know?
Gotcha.
The 80-20 rule. I mean, it's going to exist in almost every.
So, but at the same time, one would say that essentially the federal government is propping up, protecting the wealthy and the stock market. That could be an argument. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, they're propping up everybody. I got a retirement fund and my shit is down right now. So if you let all these companies go under, and my investment goes to zero, I'm gonna be pissed.
That goes back to a Republican thing. You know what I'm saying? They decided to put it in the stock market. You know what I'm saying? That was like their big windfall and go move away from the defined benefit retirement fund.
I got a pension plan too, but you know,
it's not as good as it used to be.
The percentage is the same.
I don't think so.
Percentage ain't changed. It's still the same.
Well, I'm talking about before we went to a 401k.
Oh, no. Not at all.
That's what I'm talking about. Like
not at all.
When they didn't have 401k and we had a defined benefit pension.
Yeah, but I can't. I'm not going to look back 2 generations.
It's not like
2 decades.
I mean, it's not like it's 100 years ago, man.
That's why I said 2 decades.
This all went down in, I guess, under Reagan and the first Bush.
Yeah, that's why I clarified, because I didn't mean generation as in 100 years. I just meant like my mother's generation. Yeah, so they was getting pensions and all that stuff, right? Bro, and then
we're gonna be paying for what we doing now for years to come.
Point being, I got money in an investment fund, and if you don't prop it up and my shit go to zero, I'm gonna be pissed. Because I could have had an Escalade on some 24s. I'm sitting here trying to do the responsible.
Let's be frank. You would have had that what was it, a Hellcat you were looking at, man? What's that?
I'm all over the place. I'm getting that F-150 though.
I saw that purple. I think it was a purple Hellcat, right?
Come on, you know it wasn't a Hellcat. It was a Scat Pack.
All right. Hey, that's still nice.
I wouldn't have that. I'd have something else though. There's a couple $100,000 cars I could have had in my day, but I'm trying to be fiscally responsible.
Say that then.
Yes.
It is what it is, man. Work hard, play hard. Shit, it ain't no secret.
All right,
You
hey,
want
man,
it,
you still
want
can
to
get
put
it,
the
man.
work in and get it.
You still
Shit.
can get it, baby.
Absolutely.
But again, man, I just I found that interesting only because it's the first time the Fed took this stance, and this is the first time the Fed is led by someone that's not an economist, should I say? He's legitimately an investment banker. In that instance, he's going to look at it from a different perspective. I can't say that it could be wrong, but it's just another one of those things where it's just like we just dipping our toe in some stuff that could backfire on us.
Yeah. Do we know if they were advised by an economist?
I mean, there's plenty of economists still, over there individual. Because there's different areas with the Fed. Each different, like there's one in Atlanta, one in like Kansas City, Chicago.
I didn't know that. I don't know why I said yeah.
All of them, like they all kind of make up the Fed.
I'm full of shit. Oh yeah, I absolutely knew that. I didn't know none of that.
Well, I think there's either 6 or 8 individual branches, and they all come up with their own like GDP for their area, and then that feeds into the national, and then like the guys in Powell and Janet, what was her name? Nelly, the last one.
I'm gonna be honest with you on this.
They would take it all and put it all together, but they have their own individual, and they all kind of speak for their own. Like there's sometimes where some are more conservative than others. Like for instance, I think the Chicago one actually came out like early, like in Trump's administration, saying that they're going to hit the 3.5-4% GDP growth, and that was in they were in direct opposite
region or something.
No, well, no, they can do it for the larger economy. So he was that president of that Fed branch was at like a conference, and he was speaking on it, and he was saying that they did the numbers. So they had like they kind of all independent, and then they just go up to the Fed and the guy in Washington, Jeff Powell. But at all those, a majority of those still, economists. It's the first time that a non-economist has led
control of the money.
Had actual policy, could actually sign off on shit. And sometimes you do need to have a different view on things. So although I don't like it, it is one of those things where maybe it's the time to try, but at the same time, I think these people are smart enough to know that too.
Yeah, I feel like you want somebody that knows that realm, right? It's because, like you said, it's their first time doing it. So if it's their first time doing it, then they want somebody who's can play the markets and knows where you get the biggest bang for your buck in the market is. Economists, I look at them kind of as, in engineer terms, they're like design guys, right? You can sit back, kind of remove, you're hovering over the playing field, and if I do this, it affects this that way, right? But as far as the on the ground view, right, of if I invest here, what that return generates or where that shows up and how that plays out fiscally, I don't know that, at least in my limited knowledge and experience in this realm, I don't know if that's who I want making, investment decisions. So economists I see as big picture, macroscopic, whereas investment banker, right, going to invest in ETFs, that's very microscopic. That's a very specific niche. So I kind of would want him to.
I also feel like, that's kind of, I feel like that was, what the goal was, to figure out a way to get some money into the investment bank.
Well, yeah, he gonna get some.
Yeah,
he got a percentage in there, like 0.5%.
You know what I'm saying?
Of 750 billion or whatever that big ass number you said was.
Yep, 750 billion.
That's 0.5% of that.
Yeah. So, but at any rate, I found it interesting. I want to discuss and see what your take on it and bring it to the people.
I hope they do all that shit after I invest all this money And all these failing businesses who are down 60%.
Yes.
Shout out to the airline. Shout out to any hospitality stocks that are out there right now.
You
Travel.
You invested in Carnival yet, man?
Yes.
Look, if they stock price is down 60, 70%, I invested in them more than
Yes.
I mean, not say them, but somebody in that circle. Put it that way.
Already, man. With that said, I guess we'll move on to the COVID. I guess that's kind of
COVID
topic.
quarantine.
I mean, there's been a lot of lately. There's been a lot of hubbub and disagreement with how a lot of the government is handling things.
You don't say.
Like a lot of people want to, get the economy back open.
Damn.
And they're doing such things like going to state houses with guns, demanding that the governor opens the economy.
Yeah, I ain't shoot nobody though.
I don't know. They haven't shooting over. Not yet.
Yes.
Exactly.
Why you take a gun to a house of politicians?
That is the good question. Like what good is gonna come out of that?
Them the niggas that like slap box and get slapped and then go and next time they come out the slap box they got like a knife or something on them. Like what?
I guess that's gonna lead to another topic that's not on the agenda, but
I saw that and shout out to America for not shooting them people, but shooting a black man for jogging because he could have had something.
Yes.
This fucking country is.
it's crazy, man.
I digress because I'm getting off topic right now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's.
It's
I don't know why I didn't even think about putting that on the topic, but on the agenda. But
fucking crazy. Niggas show up with guns and don't get shot, but then you shoot the nigga that don't. Rest in peace, Ahmaud Arbery. I digress. All right,
Yes.
so let's stay to the topic. Don't let me get us off.
But with that said, there's a lot of opinions out there. There's even to the extent that they're saying that it's not as bad as what it is. They're saying it is, statistically speaking, which to a degree, I guess I can agree. To a degree.
All right, let's save the pleasantries. Get into it, man.
So
who disagree? Who says that the statistics ain't the statistics?
So I guess the thing that kind of really boiled my bunions, so to speak.
That was boiling bunions, bro. What the fuck is that? Episode title.
Yeah.
Boiled bunions. Put your foot in it.
About a week ago, Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan's podcast. So this podcast, I listened to a lot of clips from them. I think Joe's pretty fair down the middle.
Okay.
But at any rate, in this particular instance, Elon came on there and, after listening to it and about a week to digest it, I realized he came on there with an agenda. Because I guess at that point, I didn't really realize, because I saw it on that Friday, what he was trying to get out in front of. But at any rate, he was on there, and Joe's sort of a free market kind of guy, too. And he was on there kind of saying how, it's kind of ridiculous that, they're still on lockdown in California. He was thinking about moving to Texas because Texas had already started to lift their restrictions, threatened to move his headquarters to Texas. They started poking holes at the statistics, to which, Elon came up with, stated an exception to the rule that was potentially could have been added to the numbers of the deaths.
And you really loved his exception. You really loved his example.
Yeah, because it's so far out there that it's like, did that even happen? Like, has that happened for that to come across your radar? You know what I'm saying? Or did you just, being a smart guy, being a quote unquote genius, just thought it up like, yeah, this would be good.
Why do we think he's so smart? Also,
well, they like to call him a genius. Hey,
who did he originally make his money with?
I don't know.
PayPal, right?
I think so. Yes,
Yeah, it's PayPal.
It was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, ironically, we have the Avengers on right now. They say that Tony Stark was based off of him, though.
They call him like a modern Tony Stark. They call him like a real life Tony Stark. Iron Man been around for
True. I agree with
R.I.P.
that.
Stan Lee.
But
all right, so let's I mean, call him out, man. What did
so
you
essentially he
find the issue
said he was trying to call that, you know, the number. So the numbers at this point are we're closing in on 9,000 deaths. He was essentially saying the statistics don't bear out that it's that bad. But I guess on the other hand, one could say that you know, we don't know how bad it is because we don't have enough testing yet. But he called out a particular instance that could be included in the deaths. Like, for instance, if someone died from a shark bite, like shark bit him, he died from the shark bite, and they tested him after he died and he had COVID, that he would be added to the COVID deaths. And my reply to that is, but that's not the rule. That's just the exception. That's one of those things where they're trying to catch, you know, the situation which is pretty much the example of which is Louisiana. You know, majority of those deaths come from they had underlying conditions, whether they were overweight, they had hypertension, they had something, and their immune system couldn't kick it. Because essentially, that's the treatment. Your body has to just kick it. You know, they may intubate you and put, you know, and give you oxygen and maybe some aspirin or whatnot. But for all intents and purposes, you just got to kick it. There's no treatment, or at least that's the treatment. And a lot of people and along those lines, they keep bringing up other illnesses like pneumonia and, you know, the flu and, you know, heart disease that kill people. You know, we didn't stop the country for those, or smoking. They even brought up smoking. You know, my real quick rebuttal to all those is there is a treatment, there is a vaccine, or we know how to. We know that that's a choice.
Abstinence.
You know what I'm saying? We have a path forward. With this particular disease virus, we don't have a treatment. There's no vaccine, and 2,000 people are dying a day. I mean, and it could get worse. And the fact that once you have to go to the hospital, you actually have to get on something that there's not enough of. You know what I'm saying? The ventilators. There's not enough of it. And so in that instance, the problem was it's just going to be, we're going to flood the hospitals, and people are just going to start dying in that manner. So they had to do it.
Yeah.
But with that said, since then, you know, some are on the back end of the curve, but not everyone. But some are on the back end. So a lot of people feel like we should open the economy back up. Maybe isolate those that are more at risk, and then those like Joe said something to the extent at-risk people, and then people that want to stay on lockdown, let them stay quarantined. Now, I guess to be fair, he's
the conflict of interest in those two.
True.
I
would say that he did say, you know, still be smart, you know, wash your hands, social distance.
You say wash?
Wash.
Damn, bro. I know you all these years. I didn't know you put R's in your wash.
Okay, well, that's what it is, man. You know, I am from the South.
No, don't put that on the South. Don't put that on the South, bro.
But you know, like I said, that I guess what kind of started this for me was just the fact that, you know, these guys, you know, I felt like, so they were being very callous. Like one of the clips I sent to you was after the Elon. It was him and his cat named Brandon. He has a podcast too. They both comedians. And their
podcast is called Hot Takes and Half Truths. You should tune in and listen to that interview of Elon and Joe Rogan on there.
But you know, he's just being very callous about it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he's kind of being a dick about it because I guess, you know, calling out people that potentially may have interest involved in it. Like I think it was like like for instance, they brought up Mark Cuban. But it was like they think he could be a good president, which I find laughable. But they was bringing up the fact that he was very weak on the COVID thing. He was like, well, it's probably because he got an old grandma. His mom is very old, you know. And I'm just saying, stop being a pussy about it. But that's kind of harsh. But at any rate, I guess my issue overall is just, you know, I can agree with you to a certain degree. I like to get back out in these streets, but at the same time, you're in a comfortable position where you can take a stance and say we should do these things, but you have no fallout if, it goes awry. And, he has a very powerful platform, and he's out here saying, basically second guessing, people that we put in place to handle these things. I mentioned it in our pre-production, but it was one of his boys called in, and he was like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to just listen to my politician? And I'm like, that's what you kind of put him in place to do, man. To make these decisions.
So when we were discussing this before we hit the record button, I feel like you've taken multiple stances against the things said on this podcast, and so with Elon Musk. So yeah. I think we should dissect those. So one, you definitely took a disliking to his analogy.
I just don't like the fact that he went so far left. Like, that's so of an extreme example. Like, it's, again, I keep saying it. Like, has that even happened?
And that example is the shark bite.
Like, someone, like, he was like saying how ludicrous the statistics are, particularly about the deaths. And I'm like, I don't want to play with the deaths. Like, people dying.
More ludicrous later.
Yes.
We'll save that segue for later.
But I mean, he called out an extreme, exception to the rule, and while I can admit that may be a part of the number.
Okay, but can you?
But it's not a significant number.
Yeah, but all right. So I feel like there may be something else there. Like, do you like Elon? Do you have any bias towards him, or
no?
Nothing.
Actually, I don't have no issue.
Pre-existing conditions.
No. I don't dislike either.
Okay.
Like,
Joe Rogan.
I actually like Joe Rogan. Okay. Like I said, he's one of the interviews I go into.
All right, that's cool. Because with me, like when you told me that, it seemed like you were taking like almost like you were predisposed, right, or you had a predisposition against his stance for some reason.
I could tell you exactly what it is. I felt like the quote-unquote genius went in there and took advantage of a situation, and the guy that's looking for something to also prove his point. Because, like, Joe's issue right now is the fact that all the comedy clubs are shut down. So he wants something, too. So he's constantly saying the same fucking shit.
Look, Andrew Schultz told his ass what to do.
And then Andrew Schultz
months ago.
And then Andrew Schultz did the same thing. He used the same stat. And that's what really was like, yeah, we got to talk about this. Because, like, I realize, we don't have the reach, but at the same time, I want to get my opinion.
Hey, shout out to Schultz, man, young Hezzy. I don't agree with everything he says, so I'm not going to big him up on that. But I will big him up on the fact that he been telling comedians how this shit got to go for you and how to diversify and, kind of get yourself out there so that you're not a single, or at single point vulnerability to comedy clubs, right, in the stand-up game. Yep. It's kind of paved the way from what I can see.
Yeah, he owns it.
Yeah, he's,
we go ahead give him his
I didn't want to do that because he's very braggadocious about it already. He's not the humblest. No. But
it happens.
But he did, from what I could tell, he did do that, right? So he did kind of set out and do things his own way. And if there's somebody that did it before him, I'm ignorant of that, so I'm giving credit to him. But so he did kind of put that out there already. And I think even on Joe Rogan's show, when he's been a guest on there, he's kind of mentioned that of how he kind of got out there and did things his way and used YouTube to build his brand and his platform. So I don't feel sorry for Joe Rogan in that regard. It's like it's out there.
I mean, he's still think about it. He makes a lot of money off his podcast. He's doing that still.
He does. He makes a lot of money in a lot of different areas. So it's like it doesn't.
You're still getting it. You're still getting money, man.
So in that regard, I guess I'm picking a fight with him on that regard to where it's like for some reason he's hung up on the comedy club, like the physical brick and mortar comedy club. Structure or platform where it's like, if that's your only reason, like because you want to get on the stage in front of people, like, nah, I can't get behind that.
I'm sure there's other things, but that's the overwhelming source of concern with him because he wants to go back to the comedy club. He feels like it's not as bad as it, again. So he's saying that it's not as bad as what it is. I can kind of agree, but at the same time, I guess from a public policy perspective, you know, it's better to overdo it than to underdo it. You know, in simplistic terms. So it's better for me to say, oh, let's hold out to July, as opposed to open it now and then have things, you know, ramp back up, and then all of a sudden it's like, why now you're questioning me why I put people's lives at risk.
Yeah.
You know, and he's in a situation where, you know, he can basically take shots from the sideline and have no, you know, has nothing.
Yeah, I get that.
No
all
recourse on it.
So I guess my point bringing that up, because it seemed like you took a specific, again, disliking to his example, and like you were getting hung up on the example because it is so extreme. But
It's the
I think,
extreme.
but did the point miss you because you got hung
No,
up
the
on
point, I get it. Like, so in any statistics, you're gonna try to catch as much as you can, and in some instances, you're gonna get some stuff that are outliers.
Even that is outside of the question I'm asking you right now. I'm asking is, can you accept the validity in his statement, even though the example was,
of course,
exaggerated?
I feel like that's such an exaggeration that I wanna, like, if there's not an actual instance of that happening, why did you even bring that up? It's like bringing up,
but you don't have to be so literal in everything, right? And that's what I'm not afraid of. I mean, I really don't. For the sake of discussion, though, it's like it strikes me because I see that a lot nowadays, where you can have a conversation with somebody and, like, say you give them a bad example and they just keep pointing to your example, and it's like, but the point still stands, and the point, there is some validity to the point. Now, I'm not saying I agree with him or his agenda or whatever, right? But if he makes a valid point, let's just say his point is valid. Can you see that, or are you obstructed by the example because the example is so extreme?
I would say no.
Are you that self-aware?
Maybe I'm, in this instance, I don't want to say too self-aware, but it's one of those things where it's like, either way we're talking about, let's say, for instance, it did happen, okay? We're still not talking about a significant amount of occurrences of all those type of incidents.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you're segueing me into our second disagreement.
It's still going to be the vast majority of, so like we're closing in on 90,000 deaths. Okay. It's not like if, you know, we saw these
According
numbers.
to who? John Hopkins?
I mean, I think it's like 87
John
on Friday.
Hopkins?
I think so.
I've been drinking
on Friday. I think it was
I
like,
can't say this shit right. John Hopkins. It's only one John.
I think on Friday it was like 87,000.
Okay, one John, so multiple Hopkins.
We're closing in on 90, if not already past 90. And it's not like, you know, once we see the numbers or whatnot, now all of a sudden it's going to be cut in half because half of them were like that far to the left or right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be that many.
Yeah, but okay.
It's not like it's going to cut the deaths in half.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think it will. But okay, so your first point, your answer to my question was that yes, you can see the validity in it if it was, even though it's a ridiculous and ludicrous,
yes,
example, right? Because I personally like giving crazy ass examples. I like that.
So I guess I
like the embellishment, the hyperbole, and that. It's dramatic.
I guess my only, I like giving stupid answers when people ask stupid questions. But when, you know, in this instance, you were just trying to, this motherfucker was trying to, like,
he's on a podcast, man.
Push his agenda.
You gotta hype it up. You know what I'm saying?
Pushing
like,
his agenda.
Having done this, you gotta appreciate that, like, some things, especially like for a podcast, right? Say we don't have the video. You have to add some type of flair.
I guess so.
Whether it be in hyperbole of what you're saying or in tone or something, whether it be sound effects, like all these are ways to make what you are saying more exciting, more entertaining, more enticing to the consumer. So I think that's why he went kind of far out there. He's a far left guy anyway.
Probably.
So I mean, he just named his kid after a fucking plane, SR-71. His kid has a letter that's two letters in one. I didn't even try to understand that. And he also corrected his wife publicly, which was like, what?
What you mean corrected?
She said, we named him after the SR-17, which is our favorite plane. He's like, it's SR-71. Like, say that publicly.
Yes.
This nigga's on the couch.
Yeah.
Or wherever. Because the couch in my house is a fantastic place. I love sleeping on it.
I like my couch too.
Yeah. The couch is a fun place. So I don't know where husbands are getting banished in 2020.
I lay up on the couch.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got drinks out there, sound system, big
Bro,
screen,
it's right
4K.
there. Like, you know, I get to the fucking
Send me to
fridge
the couch.
quicker.
It's only one thing that's not on the couch in that situation.
Yeah,
and
that's true. And
that box.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I got Xbox. It's a different type of box on the couch, man. You know what I'm saying? And for a night.
Hey, I know we kind of get out the subject, but the other day when about 2 weeks ago, when the NCAA went on and I guess approved the likeness and imaging, you know what I'm saying, that players can get paid.
Yeah.
I instantly text my homeboy, was like, well, I guess I'll be getting this new PS5 when NCAA 2021 come out.
Yes.
Because I like NCAA football. That's one of the reasons why I ain't got the shit now.
There you go. Well, now them boys getting paid.
Yeah.
You contribute to them a little bit. Some of my LBs got a little check from them back when they was doing that 10 years ago.
Yeah, nigga. I was like, I haven't had a PS2 since, like, I moved out here. When I moved out here, I brought it with me, but it kind of broke down on me because it was old as shit.
Yeah, you said PS2, so that came out in 06.
Yeah.
Xbox 360 was.
And the only reason why I was using it because I think it was like at the fore end of like you able to like watch movies and shit from it.
Yep. Blu-rays.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
DVDs, right?
No, it had like, you know, it connected to the Wi-Fi. Or was that a 3? Maybe that was 3. Maybe it was 3.
Yeah. The PS2 had DVDs.
So PS3.
PS3
and
had Blu-rays.
I was basically watching Netflix and all that on that. And I never. That's why I ended up getting that fucking Apple, because it broke. And I was like, well, there's no more NCAA football, so.
Those, you know, aside from the games, and we get way off topic here. Aside from the games, like consoles are really the way to go, because when Bluetooth first came out, they were like, not Bluetooth, Blu-ray. When Blu-ray players came out, the fucking Blu-ray players were like $800, $1,000. It was crazy how expensive they were when they first came out. So you could get one. A PS3 was $600, which is still expensive. Mm-hmm. But you're getting a PlayStation plus a Blu-ray player all in one for like $600. So really, I mean, if you're going to have a physical device, it's kind of the way to go, because you can do all those things. Yep. Nowadays, maybe not so much because everything is like app and software based, but
I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to do apps on this 5. I'll be shocked if you can't.
Yeah, they'll be able to do apps, but I guess I'm saying like now to say like $600 you can watch Netflix on it. Like it doesn't have the same selling point.
I got you.
Whereas before, when it was physical hardware.
Yeah, I was like, this, like, I recall thinking, because at first I was like, why would I bring, like, I'm not playing games no more. Why would I bring my PS3? But then when I got it down here and I started using it for that, I was like, this is why I would bring it.
Yep.
Because like I could still use it, because like I didn't have games, I wasn't trying to play games, but it was just sitting on the side of my TV. And if I was ready to go watch Netflix or Hulu or whatnot, I'll bloop, bloop, bloop. And it was cool. I liked it.
That brief message was brought to you by
Sony,
Microsoft, and Apple. Hey, holla at us for the invoice. All right, so to get back to it.
Yeah.
All right. Elon made a statement, used a crazy example, but I do think there was some validity in the statement he was saying. And his statement was, which I've seen this elsewhere, and really with around the world, right? When you look at how everybody is counting or showcasing their data of coronavirus cases, right? China is a prime example of.
They're high. They're high a lot.
China was fucking almost at like 1 million cases or something like that, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. They literally were like, oh, yeah, yesterday we had 10,000 people confirmed cases, and today we had 5. Yeah. It's a miracle. Like, we beat it. And it's like, you don't, like, that to me, in calculus, right, which, because you were talking academia before. Calculus is the study of change over time, in essence, right? Okay. The whole course of the class is about how things change over time. Calculus does not work when you have a discontinuity or a non-continuous line. So like you can't have a line go purely vertical, right? In essence, because that is it just represents some type of fucking anomaly or something that calculus can't account for. So in that instance, that to me is what that represented. Is like I'm watching this graph that is going up like this, and all of a sudden it stops out of nowhere. And now it's just like purely flat, right? The slope just immediately goes to 0 or 1 or whatever, 0 really, because it wasn't rising anymore. It just flatlined. And that to me says external factors are playing into it. So seeing that, and I guess my point with that is that Elon's point is that, and to your gripe that you have, because you say, hey, we know statistics, right? You were pre-production, you were talking, hey, if you study statistics at all, if you've taken a statistics class, you know that we have this number and that number's there for a reason, and over a certain percentage, I believe you said 8% is a significant.
Considered significant.
What?
Over 8% is considered significant.
A significant change. What? Change. Okay. So
or
what
a factor, whatever.
So what I'm getting at with that is, I took a couple gripes with that. Is one, I don't think we live life through a statistics book. So although I do agree with how stats would qualify that, I think that more people are, there's a connotation to statistics that we don't address, that we don't really speak to, right? And that's that it's the example I gave you in pre-production was the 10% to 90% that Michael Jordan was faced with, whereas a lot of people would see the 10% and will give that more real estate than it really occupies, right? And in that example, I don't know if it's an emotional or how it works out, right? But it's 10 to 9, right? It is what it is. There's
9 and 1, you mean?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Of the 10, there's 1 to 9.
Yep.
Right? And I think that for some of us, based off of how you've lived and some of the experiences you've gone through, that will, allow that 10 to speak or to be larger than what it actually represents, right? So I think there's some of that. That's why I say there's some connotation in some of these statistics, right? Because if you've had corona and say you had the worst case of corona and then somebody says, oh, there's a 20% chance of catching it, you're going to be like, yo, don't take the fucking chance. It's terrible. It's not worth the 20% chance, right? Yeah. So, and then to Elon's point
my homeboy was actually intubated. So, yes. Yeah. He would definitely say, I thought I was going to die.
There you go. So, and if you listen to those folks, I think they'll sell it a little bit more, which is what I think is the case with a lot of statistics, is that we get statistics and then the statistics are the statistics, right? It's neither right nor wrong. It just is a thing. It's a number. It's a thing. The marketing side of it, or the spin that people put on it, is the thing that makes it, part of their agenda or whatever. So I don't agree with Elon's agenda. But if you're telling me that, hey, there's a certain number, right, embedded in this other number, in the big number that you're broadcasting, you're saying 90,000 people have died from corona, right? Yep. Okay. Now, if you're telling me there's a percentage of that 90,000 where the deaths were non-corona related at all, right? Which I think is what Elon was trying to say. He just used a crazy far left example, right? Is that, hey, car accidents, gang-related violence, I don't know why I went there, but whatever. Car accidents, gangs, and let's say STDs. None of these got nothing to do with corona, but because the people that died had tested positive for corona, we're going to include that in that number.
Well, I could.
That's in essence what he's saying.
I could kind of push back on the STD if it's AIDS.
All right.
If it's AIDS, because that goes back to the underlying condition.
All right, so let's pull. Maybe let's pull back. Let's take that one out. Let's not use STDs.
Maybe he could have lived another couple years.
STDs. Let's use car accidents.
Well,
let's use gang violence, and let's use.
But the issue, you said your point.
Let's just use those two.
Even with the STDs, let's just say this.
Well, let's take. You brought it up, so let's take them out.
I have no issue with you bringing it up. My problem is you're not bringing up. You're not telling me the numbers on it. Now, you brought up earlier during pre-production that they're not really giving us that information. But if you bringing up something that could be an issue, because I would agree, there's a potential of that number. There's some of that in there.
Yeah, but he has an agenda, so he's speaking to his agenda, and everybody. That's the problem with statistics, is that most people take the stat and they use that for their agenda. So the stat is the stat, right? So the overall number, what he's complaining about is that basically all his factories are in probably not very highly densely populated areas.
No,
right?
I'm pretty sure he used a lot of fucking AI shit.
Yeah, so he's not using a lot of people. He's not in a like a LA kind of area. Because
I think they did say he hired. I think that factory does have 10,000 people, if I remember correctly.
That may or may not be a lot. I got to see the size of the factory because it's pretty fucking big.
I think 10,000 people is a lot. Right? I mean, our company only employs 15?
15 what?
1,000? Not including contractors.
Yeah, but again, it's scales, because if you look at a wind site is miles by miles, square miles deep, and there's 2 people there.
True.
So it's like, oh shit, if you tell me 15,000 people and you're literally housing 2 people, 3 people per 50 square miles, that's a lot. It's a lot of real estate. Yeah. So for the gigafactories, and I just, again, having kind of worked that environment, I know you have shifts. So I know it's not like 15,000 people at once.
So, and the thing about it, I don't know if I'm thinking about one of those meat factories, because I know that those numbers are in my head as well. Because I know there was all those meat factories that have been getting shut down because of COVID. So I don't know if it's him that had that 10,000 or if it's one of them. And there's when they come back, they're only going to do 3,000 people at a shift. I think it might be the meat. So I may be, so getting to my point on that. So while I can agree that there may be some of that in that 90,000, until we actually know the numbers, because you said yourself, are they telling us that number? I doubt it. So how did he know? If you can give me the numbers, I'll eat it. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and
but basically all you're doing is just saying the sky could fall.
And that was my comment to you, where he probably had somebody do an assessment for him. I mean, I don't think he's the CEO anymore. I forget what position he holds now, but I'm sure he had somebody report up to him, give him an analysis. I'm almost certain of it. Again, to be that high up and to have that much exposure in a multi-billion-dollar company, you're gonna have somebody give you an assessment. So, but the point is that he's saying that there is a population that is being reported that he doesn't think is directly tied to it, and that the numbers are being inflated or not accurately represented.
He's saying inflated, yeah.
Yeah, inflated, not accurately represented. Same thing. So, and I agree with him on that. It probably is, right? There probably is in that. But now, where I disagree with him and draw my disagreement, which is in his agenda, and the same thing that I say with Joe Rogan, is that you want to come back for whatever is immediately important to you and that serves you in this immediate, moment. But again, as a whole, if that's not the right thing to do, then that's not the right thing to do. And oftentimes I think a lot of these rules and regulations and stuff, and you read the news articles, people are getting upset because they're reopening the economy. And it's well, they're reopening it in some places more than others. Other places are taking, smaller steps towards doing that, if doing that at all. Like New York is not saying, oh, we're 100% tomorrow, right? Because they're kind of the, I don't want to say
epicenter.
I don't want to say epicenter because it didn't start there, but they've been impacted the most because, again, America, population density, it just, how that city is set up, it makes sense why they were impacted.
They're the most dense city in the country.
There you go. So they obviously have to take different steps, right? And they're probably one of the last to open the economy and roll things out.
Although they actually see a curve, whereas there's a lot of places like Texas that the curve hadn't actually started going down. Like cases are still going up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's neither here nor there. I guess my issue with what Elon said was essentially he ain't giving me no numbers. He's just throwing something out there and letting it stew. Give me the number.
But yeah, because that's what
give me the number.
He has to, but that wouldn't serve his agenda.
Exactly.
So he's not going to do it.
Exactly.
But it doesn't also. But there still is validity in what he's saying.
But I think it eats at that validity.
If he gives you, so if he gives you that number, if he said of the 90,000, 10,000 are false, then what? Exactly. Because most people are still going to say.
That's still a lot of people dying in that, you know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Okay.
So we're still doing the right thing. Or one could argue we're doing the right thing.
Okay. And what if he says 20,000? You gave that number earlier, so I'm going to use that number. What if he says 20,000 are false? Then what do you say?
All this has to be verified. You know what I'm saying? Like
if it's verified and it's accurate, then what?
You're still going down the right way though.
Okay, so at what point?
Still 70.
At what point do you say like, okay, yeah, I don't see a problem with opening your factory back up?
So I don't have no real issues with people taking steps to open their factory back up. I take issue when people use stats erroneously. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't back it up with anything. This situation could be included in it. Didn't bring up how many times or potentially it could be in there.
Again, you're harping on the example, but I'm saying, what if he gave you?
Because it's so far left.
So if he
so
told you
right.
50% are inaccurate, would you say it's safe to open back up?
I need to know your sources. I need to see that. I need to see that.
So that's my point.
But at the same time, if that was true, then I'm not going to argue with the numbers.
Because his factory is outside of Reno, one of them, the big battery one is there.
But I think he's one in California because that's the one he's talking about moving to Texas. Because at least the headquarters is in somewhere in
Palo Alto,
California. Because that's who he's really beefing with. Because I think Nevada, I think they're opening up. So I don't think that's the issue.
That's where his biggest factory is. That's why I was asking. Because, again, if you look at certain areas, obviously, like L.A. has different, when people say California is opening up, it's not all of Cali. It's like the less populated areas. Mm-hmm. So, like, L.A. is still under, like, a very strict lockdown. You go out to, like, Venice Beach. Everybody showed the beaches in California opening up, but that wasn't Venice because Venice is still, from what I understand, locked down. I saw this, like, 3 days ago. So if it's changed since then, fucking sue me. But 3 days ago, niggas was getting people up off the beach at Venice.
I think you can walk, but you can't stop. I think that's what they're saying.
Well, you can't crowd and set up a tent and freaking have drinks and shit out there with your friend and speakers on.
Apparently, we can do that, huh?
Yes.
Not even. I don't think there are a lot of that beaches really.
I think we can, though. I think we can go to our beach here.
But all the beaches, none of the beaches are really closed. You can still go out there and walk and stuff, but like the social beaches, South Beach, Fort Lauderdale Beach, I mean, there's commerce there.
Las Olas.
Yeah, there's no commerce here. There's no commerce in West Palm Beach. There's just rich people with houses and properties there, and they want you off their land anyway. So whatever. But yeah. So I guess all that to say, if there's validity in what he's saying, then cool. He didn't present the number, but they're not presenting us the number either. So I get his gripe, but again, I can't necessarily agree with his agenda because I don't know, one, which factory he's talking about. If he's talking Palo Alto and I need to know the rates in that area, if the rates are sky high in that area, then no, shut your ass up and it's still high. You just got to wait this out like the rest of us. And if it's somewhere where the rates are super low and it don't really affect him and he's being, there's kind of an obstacle because the rates are high nationally, then I can see his point. And if he's trying to drive to, hey, we're not that bad in this region, we'll put things in place to keep our employees healthy, but let us get back to work, then all right, I can understand that too. I took interest in all this because it felt like you were just like, nigga, shark bites. No, I don't like this man because he said shark bites.
No,
next he gonna say aliens, and because one alien.
See what I'm saying? What's next? That's because look, if there was numbers that he could back that up with, and there's somewhere I can go to look into it, I can get around it.
I don't think you would.
I could.
I don't think you would. It's funny, but I don't think you would.
I'm an engineer, bro. We engineer, bro. If the numbers say the numbers, I'll be like, all right, well.
I'm going through that right now.
I may not agree with you, but the numbers say that.
Everybody has inherent bias, and some people can't escape it.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, some people can't escape it, because I'm literally going through this at work right now where I'm showing a nigga like, this is better. No, but I think the original is, this is better, it's cheaper, it's more available, it's easier to install, it's interchangeable, we have inventory in the fleet. No, but this one was the one that came with it. Some people can't escape their own, they can't get out of their own way. Right? So,
I agree with that.
But all right.
I guess the overall theme is just, I just feel like, in this instance, they're taking pot shots at people that have the, huge responsibility of looking out for the well-being of the majority. Like, for instance, one of the things Joe keep bringing up, and I distinct, like, this is one of the one things that really, like, fucks me up with him. He keeps saying, well, there's plenty enough testing, and, there's more than enough testing going around, just that and third. So, it's not a problem getting tested when on the backside of that, every day governors are asking the goddamn president to make testing more available. They're asking for help every day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's a disconnect in what you're saying and what's actually happening. And again, I mentioned it earlier, just like one of those things where, he's taking pot shots. They're basically taking pot shots from the bleachers, where they have, really nothing to lose from it. Whereas, the people that's actually put in place to make these decisions, if, let's say, for instance, they open up too soon, and then all of a sudden there's a run on people getting sick and a run on hospitals. Now it's like, why the fuck did you make that decision?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So these people are going to do what they feel is best, not only for, it may be self-serving for the politician as well, but do what's best for not only them, but the betterment of the overall society. And I guess, and with that said, the last thing I guess, the biggest thing about this is they keep bringing up, it's no bigger than, any other, like, heart disease. Heart disease killed the most, and, flu still kill people, and the thing about those things, we have treatments. We have a plan for that. There's really no plan for COVID other than, like I said.
Nah, heart disease isn't contagious. Like, those things aren't contagious. You know what I'm saying? They're more chronic issues than they're not acute. Like, this is an acute kind of attack on your
exactly.
System. So I disagree with that example for obvious reasons.
You're right along with me. You basically preach to the choir on that one.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, it's not a 1-to-1, baby.
No, it's not. It's not. So that's just a bad example to use to drive their case, which is, again, it is what it is. That's a bad example, but they both have agendas they're trying to push, and they're trying to get back to doing something because it benefits them. So I get why they're doing it. The same reason a bunch of companies are trying to open back up, and the same reason why all these companies are saying, "Hey, we got no contact delivery. I'll put your food on the floor outside the fucking door, and they keep you still touched it."
Have y'all did that? Y'all did any of that?
Yeah. Yeah, we went out and got some pho the other day from the little Vietnamese spot, man.
Like, y'all went out? Oh, y'all went out?
I went and got it.
Okay.
So
I haven't had anything delivered. I don't even, everything I've done, I basically went and picked up.
Same shit.
So it's just, I haven't utilized any of that.
It's the same. I mean, we had somebody deliver some shit like once or twice. It's like, but it's the same shit. Like, it's all this. I heard somebody today, Boost Mobile, talking about we're an essential service. Like, no, you're not, my nigga. Like,
yes.
Stop doing. Like, what are you doing, my nigga? I'm essential, my nigga. If I don't go to work, the lights cut out. Literally.
Yes.
Literally, that is essential.
For 5 million customers.
My nigga, my boy Justin is essential to Boca water, right? If he don't go to work, the water comes out brown and dirty, and you can't drink it or something like that. That's essential. My nigga, chirping my boy, it's not essential. It's not essential. Some people will argue communication is essential, but I'm arguing that your specific prepaid cellular service is not essential to some degrees. But Panda Express is not essential.
I would agree with you. It's not.
Niggas are not essential. Like orange chicken though.
That should be hitting, man. I was upset when we went to that expo. I was upset with that chicken.
Very much. So was that Chinese girl eating it with us. Shout out to my Chinese
plug
partner. Yeah.
I wanted to, another topic I brought up right before was the recent allegations against the Democratic candidate Joe Biden. Real quickly, and I don't think we're gonna stay too long on it, but he was accused, I guess, in early March by Tara Reid. Reed McCabe. She also went by Alexandra McCabe at one point.
Can't trust a bit with that many names.
Hey. And I'm not
just jokes, people. I don't know the story. I'm sorry.
Yes. I'm not really trying to.
I don't even know the story. So go ahead.
I find see, essentially, she worked for Joe Biden back from I think late '92 through mid '93.
Okay. What is he being accused of?
Sexual harassment.
Okay. So all right. So a very poor joke.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So she's basically coming out and said that he did that. She said she filed a complaint. I don't think they was able to find anything. I don't think anything was found through the Senate or whatnot from that time. He's denying that it happened. She's saying she has a couple people that has come to her defense. And then, of lately, there's been a lot more individuals coming out basically pointing to the shadiness of Miss Reid. Specifically, apparently she did have some
smearing campaign.
She did have some family issues. I guess she was abused by her former husband.
Okay.
And so she was on a run in the early 2000s with her daughter. But beyond that, it seems like there's been a lengthy line of her being manipulative and backing out on commitments, like, for instance, rent, using people's soft point. Like, she'll bring up Joe Biden, bring up certain things that she worked on with certain people, and they would help her out on the rent, as far as like lowering the rent to help her out, that type of stuff. And it seems like she's been having financial problems for the last 15 years. She went bankrupt. She filed bankruptcy in 2012, and from the beginning, it just felt like a plant to me. It felt very much so right out of the Donald Trump playbook. Like, oh, you think I'm bad? Well, he does it too. You know what I'm saying? That type of deal. And I just found it kind of curious that, Joe Biden has been was the vice president for 8 years. That was a time to do it. Specifically 2016 with the run up to the election, with all the people that, got hit with that Me Too. When everyone was hoping for him to come, that was the time to do it. And shit, he's been essentially running for essentially a year now. And, now you come out with it, and there's no back, like, other than people just saying that you said it to them before, or you brought it up to them before, and of
course, man, they got to hit it when something important is going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't have nothing on the line at the time.
It seems fishy now.
Yeah,
it seems totally fishy. You're a person that has financial issues. I can see someone helping you out. Hey, go do this. And the thing about it ain't got to stick.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I find
it's like counter character assassination. So she's coming out trying to smear Biden, so they're trying to discredit her so that her word doesn't seem credible. So it's the same thing, same thing she's doing against him, right? And who knows what reason she has to do it.
Yeah.
But,
I just find, like I said, I find it fishy. I mean, but at the same time, what she's claiming that he did is far less than, what your boy in the White House likes to do. You know what I'm saying? When you're famous, you could just grab him by the pussy.
Yeah, Biden. Oh, Joe
That's
Beasy.
Joe
Totally Beasy ain't grabbing the cat.
That's totally different, man.
Just rubbing some shoulders. You know
I feel like, look, if it happened, it happened. You know what I'm saying? Get his ass. But I don't know, man. To me, it just seems fishy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a nice run up to the 2016 election where it was just left and right. Both, while most of it was Trump, but there was like senators that had to, resign, particularly on the Democratic side. You know what I'm saying? And he was a big name that everyone was trying to get in the race then. That would have been like, yo, he also did it to me. What now? What changed now that now you want to come out with it?
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. I find that curious. I hope, we get to the bottom of this in short order. Like I said, she said she made a complaint, I guess, to HR of Congress or whatever that is. And I don't think they've been able to find records of that, or maybe they don't release that. Although it's a public entity, you would imagine that type of information should be able to come out. But you'll see. Well, like I said, my hope is that we get to the bottom, because I would hate for something like this that is, in my opinion, questionable.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's, definitely has some elements that, it's all bad timing. It's like, not bad timing, but it's like, why now, to your point, right? It's like, why didn't you bring this up before? It's not like he hasn't been in a political forefront for a while now, right? 8 years.
Since 2007.
Yep. And then now, but, I'll say this. I hope the truth comes to light, man. And if she was a victim, then, she is given justice. And if she wasn't a victim, then,
yes,
she goes about her way and she can, you ain't gonna get no public apology or nothing like that. But I hope that, Joe's reputation isn't
sullied.
Yeah, as a result of it, because, it just is what it is. When you're that big of a figure that all it takes is for somebody to
make an accusation.
Yeah, and as a man, that's kind of, we spoke about this before with kind of sexual assault and things of that nature. Something to that magnitude, it really, all it takes is the accusation of it.
You're fucked.
Right? You don't really, need to be proven wrong. Because
no one hears that part. All they remember is he was.
They hear it, but it's like, it's still a loaded round that they can go back to, right? At any given time, to allow whoever's in that room when they say that to kind of question you and look at you a little bit differently, right? So even if you were acquitted of it, 10, 15 years from now, you know what I'm saying? If we're having a disagreement publicly and I say, that's the reason why, you were accused for this or something like that, it's going to re-evoke those feelings. It's hard to hear something like that and not look at a person a certain way, or, it evokes feelings, man. So I don't like that being kind of the go-to move for people with men, especially because there's really nothing you could do to defend against it, and it's just a stain that you can't get out. You know what I'm saying? That's red wine on alpaca. You know what I'm saying? Metaphorically speaking, kind of far left example. I ain't never seen no alpaca, but I know that red wine stains it. You can't wipe it. You got blots that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But that's just what it is. That's what it is to us, metaphorically speaking. It's a stain that you can't really get out, and all it takes is somebody to bring it back up, and it brings stark visuals. Very polarizing emotions to mind, where people are literally, like, damn, I should distance myself from this person because that was going on. And If it's not the case, then, he shouldn't be subject to that. But, hopefully, justice is served, and shout out to my boy.
Yes.
And, and whatever is true comes to light, man. That's all I got to say on
You
that.
want to jump on that
Luda.
That Arbery, Ahmaud situation, real quick. This is
Same thing with that. I hope justice is served, man. I'll paraphrase the situation because it's been a week or two now, so it's kind of not behind us, but it's out there. I don't have the details in front of me, so I don't know the people's names and all that stuff. I know Ahmaud Arbery, right? So rest in peace to him first, and condolences to his family and close friends and loved ones. So the story, as I understand it, man, is that the young man was jogging, young black man, in Georgia somewhere. I don't even remember the
Brunswick,
Georgia. Okay. He's out for a jog. Two white men in a truck with loaded firearms basically chase him down, shoot and kill this young man while he was jogging because they had a suspicion that he was either the burglar in question or an accomplice, or somehow associated. Somehow associated with a alleged burglary that took place around. I think it was somebody stole a bike or something like that. But
okay, so
this nigga's jogging without a bike on his person. So they basically rode up on Mr. Arbery and shot and killed him. And and there's a whole dispute going on. This happened all in February, late February.
February 23rd.
Yeah, 2/23. So that story's been catching some traction lately because as of late the two gentlemen were recently arrested, and I think the guy that recorded it, I think people are kind of both sides are really going at him, which is kind of interesting, right? He really has no safe haven with anybody because the black folks, right, that I say black folks, but there's a side that looks at him as like you're an accomplice,
yep,
right, and then there's a side that looks at him as if like you're a snitch, because why'd you record this, right? Why'd you record these vigilantes were trying to serve justice to somebody that was done wrong.
I guess the funny part, I didn't even realize that side.
Yeah, he's. I heard something. I think it was his lawyer or somebody. Somebody was basically paraphrasing what his lawyer was saying. His lawyer's basically like, he's a mechanic. He just happened to record this or whatever. He didn't do all this. Like, he has a high school education and all that. Like, he doesn't know what this, the implications that this puts him up for and all that is kind of weird. And hopefully I'm not confusing two stories because it's kind of another story out there.
Trying to say he's a dumbass.
Yeah, basically. Or it's just saying that people are basically saying, I think people were putting higher, saying that he recorded this video because he knew the legal implications and the legal ramifications that would come if he didn't have it. And I think his lawyer's saying he's a mechanic. He has a high school education. He doesn't know the extent of the law of having this video and what that would excuse him from, or whatever. So I think that's what his lawyer was saying. But yes, it came off as come on, let's be honest. My client's got a shop. He works at a shop. He's got a high school degree. He's not the smartest, crab in the barrel, whatever.
He's no Elon Musk, huh?
Yeah. So that's how a lot I'm thinking. Yes. But to the point of this gentleman is damn, not even my lawyer ain't even on my side, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm paying this dude.
I'm paying this man good money.
He publicly called me. Stupid. And I gotta sit here and nod my head.
I ain't trying to go to jail.
Exactly. Till the camera go off. Hey, motherfucker. Hey, this is the last time you called me a dumbass. Put a different spin on it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah. So another tragic event, right? In African American, I think the history of the relationship of African Americans and not even law enforcement, really. I mean, law enforcement, yes, because that does play a toll, right? Because neither of those gentlemen were arrested after they shot and killed a guy.
Yeah.
It's okay, yeah, we'll take your report on the strength of what you just said.
Yeah, it was
you guys go home, we'll take this and file this. This sounds pretty standard.
It was a standard car accident or
something. Yeah, it just sounds okay, yeah, that sounds about right. They steal stuff and you shot and killed him, so we're better off with that because he stole a bike, $100 Huffy. This seems, this punishment seems.
So where did you get that from? That was new. That's new to me. The bike part, because I imagine it probably has something to do with some other than what was going on at that house. Because essentially what they're trying to say is, he went to the house a couple times.
Yeah.
But the person at the owner of that, the construction site of the house said nothing's ever been stolen.
So again, I think I mentioned this on our episode where we had Twan and your other boy Gerard on the episode, right? Where we're at a point where there's so much information, and information can be counter, it can be pro. You don't know what the truth is. Somebody just makes a statement that, hey, there was a bike missing, and then it gets a headline. So I'm saying that, right? I don't know if that's true or if it's not true, but they're alleging he stole something. Yeah. Right? And I guess my overall point, and I guess saying all that is like, no matter what he stole, it ain't worth a life. Nah. Right? Pick the most expensive thing in your house or my house, right? If you stole my car or something like that, do I kill you because you stole my car? Like, it's not worth a life. You know what I'm saying? And the way you know that is that when people get in car accidents, first thing you ask them, hey, are you okay? Yeah, man, I'm good. Like, car's totaled, but I'm okay. And you're like, fuck that car. Car could be replaced. It's not worth a life. There's no comparison to the value there. So if it was a bike, if it was a TV, there's nothing you can tell me that he stole that's worth you killing him. Hunt him down, whoop his legs. You know what I'm saying? Old Charlie Murphy style, right?
Well, the problem is, I guess he.
When I say that, I don't mean him per se, right? I'm saying that like there's a way to deal with people that have stolen something from you, right? That's outside of the law. Like even growing up, it's like somebody stole something from you. You just it's a one-on-one. You just owe me a fair one or something like that. And then after that, you don't steal from me no more. Why? Because I'm finna come put them hands on you. You know what I'm saying? But I don't kill you because you stole something from me or whatever else. That just seems too far extreme. But yeah, and I guess I didn't want to harp. Really, I didn't want to even talk about this really because it draws too many parallels to like the Trayvon case. True. There are a lot of similarities in that whole Trayvon case. You got a non-black just vigilante out. Think they're doing the work of the community, right? Doing right by the community, and magically somehow you end up on the back end of an ass whooping somehow, and then now you're trying to justify killing somebody in self-defense, even though you were the aggressor, initiator. So I hate hearing these fucking stories because they don't. It's like, dog, you got in the car with guns and drove to this guy, right? Yes. And then somehow an altercation started, which tells me
you got out the car.
You started it.
You got out the car and went towards him with the gun. Probably accusing him of something. And
an altercation ensued, physical altercation ensued. Somehow now you're losing, and now it seems right that the gun should come into play now. And it's like, no. Like, I say no at the fact where, first of all, you can't even shoot somebody that stole something from you that's running away. You can't shoot him in the back. You can't. If your life is not in immediate danger, you technically can't shoot that person legally. Like, you're going to have to defend yourself in court. If I'm leaving your place with a TV and I have bullet wounds in my back and exit wounds in my chest, they're going to say like, okay, well, was your life really in danger? Or was this something else, right? You're going to have to defend yourself in that instance. Same thing here, in my opinion, is that even if he stole something and he's leaving, you can't go after him. You can't. You're in no harm. He is gone. The threat has left. Mm-hmm. First thing in gun ownership, when you take that CCW class, I feel threatened. You can shoot if you feel threatened. If you are not threatened, the threat has left and you go looking for it, that's not a threat. That's not it. So this whole story, even like I say, it draws so many parallels with Trayvon. I can say no to like so many instances where it's like, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And somehow these guys still got to go home, sleep in their beds.
For 2 months.
Yeah, and were just recently arrested, but really just because of the amount of public backlash. Yeah. And traction that this story is getting.
Yeah.
Which it just makes me feel like, man, it makes me feel kind of hopeless that like out here at any given point in time, and I've been jogging.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like if I'm just out on a jog at night, lay my kid down, I could get gunned down, and then it's just like, well, he was jogging and I didn't like the shoes he had on or something, man. I approached him about it, and because he started kicking my ass, I killed him. So and they be justified. It's fucking crazy, man.
So I guess my point on it, is a little different, but the same. I think initially it was just one of those things where I was like numb to it because like it happened again. You know what I'm saying? Like another situation where a black man basically happened to be in the wrong place, wrong time, and some white boys get to pop off on him.
Yep.
And get away with it because, protecting themselves or stand your ground, some bullshit.
Stand your ground only works for white people.
Exactly. Exactly.
Apparently.
Yeah, exactly. The fact of the matter is that, what they were accusing him of, initially, or at least from what I understand, was that he was breaking into that property. And the thing that resonated with me was I distinctly remember when my mom was looking for a home, we would do that. Like go to if we ran across some new property that was coming up.
In construction, yeah.
Yeah, we'd stop by and just kind of look at it, not to steal nothing, which apparently he didn't do. But we'll walk through and be like, oh yeah, this would be nice. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can.
I've done that.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why, and matter of fact, millions of people do it. You know what I'm saying? Like
people do that to their own property. What if that was his shit?
You know what I'm saying? And even to the extent one of the people I listened to during the week, Michael Smirkanich on POTUS. He's like a big time kind of radio personality, but his wife is a real estate agent, and he was like, I had to think about it, but just last week my wife was like, yo, this new property is coming up, we should go and look at it, and literally did the same thing that essentially what they found him doing, which is walking through the property. You know what I'm saying? Look,
and generally speaking, there's no blood, no foul.
Exactly. I mean, technically, I guess it could be trespassing, but it's one of those gray areas. You know what I'm saying?
But again, I think most people, like if your neighbor is selling their place, say you have a house and it's a plot and it's property and you know it's up for sale and they don't live there, right? It's uninhabited and people are coming and looking at it and maybe walking around the property or whatever.
Exactly.
If you don't break nothing
or steal nothing,
it's like okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you go in there and come out with something, even then, it's still suspicious. I'll call the cops and say, hey, nigga just left with the refrigerator, and I know they don't live here. I knew the people that live there.
Exactly.
Right? But I don't hop in my car. I don't load up my shotty and hop in my car and go hunt this person down and shoot them. Like, they're not a threat to me.
Yeah.
They just stole a refrigerator or something like that, right? Which clearly this nigga didn't do. Sorry, I didn't mean to call him this nigga. Clearly he did not do. Right? It's my dog, man. I feel like I knew him, so I could talk to him.
I mean, it hurts because like you kind of mentioned it earlier about I jog around my neighborhood, like I literally. So you remember about a week and a half after the first shutdown, like when they initially went to the stay-at-home order. Mm-hmm. About a week and a half into it, they got more strict. I literally stopped jogging because in my mind I was like, I'm gonna be the one that the cops pull up on. It ain't gonna be none of these older white people that's walking. They gonna choose me, and then I'm gonna either be the one to get arrested.
Boy, what are you doing out here?
Yes.
At this time of night, it's 6:30, sir.
I'm gonna either be the one get arrested, summons, or something happen. You know what I'm saying? And that literally made me stop running. I was like, nah, I'm not taking that risk.
Yeah, and that's crazy because
I have to think about it.
You don't live nowhere close to that lifestyle in which you should be
worried about
have
that
shit. Worry, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, but you haven't.
Like I had to process that because like literally I never forget the day the couple of days after I did it, I went and ran my little route, but then like that third day I was like, it just ain't worth it. Like it ain't worth potentially having to have some $200 summons or even potentially get roughed up by a cop because I don't potentially respect him enough in his mind that he wants to, like, you know what I'm saying, get physical with me.
Yeah, but that curfew also wasn't for us. That's the other thing. The fake news. People just it's a lot of headlines.
Well, the only curfew that we really had around here was on the island, and I ain't going to the island. Like,
but just to that point though, because the wife and her friends were sending, curfew in West Palm, and I'm like, it's not West Palm. It's the town of
Palm Beach.
Palm Beach, and I said, and that's across the bridge.
That's the island. That's the rich people.
I said they have a curfew, but that doesn't mean all of West Palm or all of Palm Beach. So again, that's kind of fake news, and that's how people get caught up in that stuff. And who knows? All it takes is a cop to read that the wrong way. True. Be down in Delray or something like that while I'm jogging. Let's see how I give them a false location for me. Y'all looking for me? Come to Delray.
Yes.
All I needed to be is down in Delray or Deerfield or something like that, jogging. And then the cop say, "Hey, there's a curfew in Palm Beach." No. And now I'm on the wrong side of it. So I agree with you.
Town of Palm Beach.
Yeah. Let me explain that to you. Oh, this nigga knows words.
Yeah. And now he's like, now he's like,
laughing at this, but that's how it goes.
Exactly, bro.
That's how the police report is. Why'd you shoot him? This nigga said a big word. Nigga's dangerous. Mike Epps said something a long time. I know all type of big words. Nigga, police department. But yeah, man. So tragic loss of another innocent citizen. It seems like no matter what you're doing, you can never really relax, bro. And it's crazy to think about that as a black man in America. It's like you can never really let your guard down. Shout out to Botham Jean. You know what I'm saying? I think sitting in his own house, dog, and you still get shot, and they looked at like, well, was he doing something they shouldn't be doing? It. Nigga was in his house.
Yeah. They found a small amount of marijuana. Who cares? He was in his house.
In my house. Like, no, you can't say I was trying to sell it. And then this is
obviously it wasn't enough for you to say that he was trying to traffic it. Because if you could, you would have.
Yeah. And then it's like,
and to go back to this situation, that's another reason why I found it so suspicious. Because it literally was like 2 months later, and they didn't come out with nothing damaging on him.
Because you ain't got it. But it's like you made the statement earlier, right, where it's unrelated, but you were talking like high blood pressure, heart disease, all that stuff. Here's a black man jogging to, and it's a stretch what I'm saying right now, right? It's a reach, obviously, but it's like that is something that is constantly, put out there that like plagues us as African Americans, right? Is, the diseases and ailments that come along with like our diet and the food we eat, right? Yep. So here's a young man jogging, which I could argue is he's trying to do something to counteract those ailments, right? Those stereotypical ailments to our people. And he gets gunned down anyway. For no reason. And it's like, so if I'm jogging, I'm doing something wrong, right? I fit the description. And if I'm not doing that, then I'm at risk for this other health ailment. It's like you damned if you do, damned if you don't.
He's running from but he was running from the scene. It's like he was jogging, man.
No, I'm running from high cholesterol, bro. Yes. Diabetes running my family, so I'm running from it.
Yeah, nigga.
And then I get gunned down anyway. It's like, man, I should have had the candy yams, bro. I should have. You just really can't let your guard down as a black man. You know what I'm saying? And it just shows, man. It shows up in a lot of ways and how we conduct ourselves in a lot of ways.
I just showed you. Like, I literally stopped running because I was like,
there you go.
Someone's gonna fuck with me.
For no reason.
Yeah. I feel like if a cop decides to have a bad day and want to just fuck with someone, it's gonna be me.
There ain't nothing you can do about it. And it shouldn't be that way. But it is. And that's what it's like to be black in America. So rest in peace. Ahmaud Arbery.
Yep.
Condolences again to your friends, families, and loved ones. Hope you get justice, homie.
Yes. With that said, moving on. I mean, I guess
we got to breeze through these next ones.
Yeah. We got a couple.
Expect these first topics to hit so heavy.
Yeah. So where you want to start at? Boosie, Tekashi, or Verzuz?
Let's start Verzuz.
All right.
The last one's gonna be pretty quick.
So last night.
All these gonna be pretty quick, honestly. My take.
That's why I wasn't really tripping.
Yeah.
Last night on Verzuz on IG, Luda and Nelly
Dirty
had their, I guess, competition.
Young Dirty, yeah.
I mean, I the moment I saw it, I mean, I like both of these guys.
For sure.
But at the moment I saw it, I was like, Luda's gonna crush him, only because I'm more into lyrics. Luda got like sneakily is a lyricist,
which isn't fair. Like when I first saw this announced, let's start there. Let's start from the announcement of this and why people thought this was a good Verzuz.
Okay,
it's not a good Verzuz. Okay. It just isn't. It isn't. And I don't know who said this would be a good one, but it's not, because they're two completely different type of artists.
True. Yep.
They had two completely different types of outputs. They had two completely different, like, people think that there's only one thing to do in the music business to be successful, right? So ambition-wise, they had two completely different, I think, projections and definitions of what success was. So I'll start by this, and this will give you, I guess, really give you my take on why I didn't watch it, and it kind of ended exactly how I thought it would end. Because as far as their careers go, if you compare just their careers, Nelly has had bigger records, significantly bigger records, which is why he's still as well off as he is, but less in numbers. Whereas Luda, he's got less albums, he's got less hits, if you will, right? But they are bigger by like a scale of, like, you could say probably 2 to 10, probably, if you just go across his hits. And then a lot of his hits are like, it's him, like Pimp Juice, like Hot in Her.
It's him, Nelly. all him.
Like, I know Pharrell's gonna get some production credit on some of these hits, right? But it's his record, whereas Luda he's on big features.
Timberland and all them,
he's on big features, and he's got hits and got hits after hits.
And he holds his own when he goes on other people's shit.
Absolutely, right? But again, it's volume versus, hey, I got 5 or 6 that you can't hold a candle to, and I'm living good off of just those, because they gonna ring off. Like Hot in Here is hot in here. Like, he went pop. I don't think he tried to, but he went pop and caught a wave with all of America, not just black people. You know what I'm saying? So when I first heard this announced, this is what I said. I said, Nelly's got like 5 or 6 Luda can't hold a light to. But after that, it's gonna be about volume and about how many people heard it, or at least the people that are tuning in heard it, and if it resonates with them, and if it jogs a memory or something like that, and it's going to skew in the favor of the person with volume. And that's what I think happened. And I think, Nelly, for his career and for what he was trying to do, Nelly was smoking hot for a few years. Like, even Jay said it, the only niggas moving units, Pimp Juice, and us. That's Eminem, Nelly, and Rockefeller. The only people that was moving, and really in Rockefeller, was just Jay.
Yeah, true.
And Kanye. Yes. Jay-Z said this at a point in time. Yeah. Right? So Nelly was pushing units. He was moving units at a point, but his game plan wasn't to try to be this big mogul with this extensive library. So
the only pushback I would have, I think he just didn't have the roster to do it. Because he pushed some niggas out, like Murphy Lee and the other couple cats, but they just didn't have it.
But yeah, and it didn't happen. And what he do? He started Vocal, and then he sold Vocal. He made a shit ton of money, and then Nelly, y'all can have it. Yeah. Nelly was still out here making hits after hits after hits. And I think he at one point, I did tune into it for a little bit. He bigged up Luda because he said Luda's putting out an album year after year. Every year Luda was putting out an album. Nelly said, I think I was at every 2 years, every 2.5, 3 years. So that alone shows you their output alone. Nelly is Trump. 2, possibly 3 to 1. Yeah. Right? So it is what it is. But then you go out and Luda was doing movies. Nelly was in a couple movies too, Longest Yard. But Luda just had that network. He used to be a radio personality and all that. So he
knew the game.
Absolutely.
He knew the game coming into it.
And he worked soundtracks.
Exactly.
He worked it.
He knew it. Like, Nelly probably didn't really know the game like he knew it. Because,
I don't think he did.
He just happened to come in and had a unique perspective by working in the radio.
I don't think neither of them really knew it that well, because I think they both had similar ambitions, but they failed in that same regard. Because Luda tried to start a label. He had Disturbing the Peace.
True.
So they both had, Luda had 2 Chainz signed to him at one point, and that went under. So
at the same time, I think the experience at the radio station, kind of getting the ugly side of the business, he knew like I need to make sure I hit these certain things, be more professional. A lot of cats, because even my homeboy talk about it. A lot of cats, that's into the industry. They don't have like the thing that hampers them most is the fact that they don't approach it like a business. Yep. It's always kind of like just a hustle, and the ones that actually do well in it is the ones that kind of that approach it like a 9 to 5. Yep. I gotta get up, I gotta be at a certain place, certain time, this, that, and third, and not be like, oh, I get there when I get there. Yeah. And that's what you deal with a lot in that. And I think Luda wouldn't fall in that category. No. He was the one that was like, I need to approach this like a business. Yep. I need to, like, if someone tell me to be here at a certain time, I'm gonna be there, and all that. Probably I would think would be a source of the fact that he came from. And
he had hits, and he was very unique. Yep. And he, his music is his music, and he don't sound like nobody else. His sound doesn't sound like nobody's sound. He didn't ride the wave of a producer or nothing like that. He just put out what he put out, and up until as long as he had braids, it's pretty dope. Then once he cut the braids and went to the Dark Caesar, it got pretty grown up.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
I agree. Got pretty mature really quick.
He still has some, lyrically, he was still, beasting niggas, but because I feel like Luda, I always said Luda never get the credit for being as lyrical as he is. Like if you actually, because he has all those kind of like antics, and his videos are very.
It's a caricature.
Yes,
he can come off as like a caricature.
But if you actually listen to his shit. That nigga be.
He's just animated, which it speaks more so to again his business acumen and understanding marketing and how to distinguish yourself. And but yeah, so this Verzuz, from what I could tell on the timeline this morning, and I did tune in a little bit. I think I caught like 2 rounds. Nelly played like and again Nelly he didn't do a lot of features.
I watched about 30 minutes. He fell out for a little while because I guess he lost connection.
Yeah,
Nelly.
Everybody's calling Teddy Riley.
He did. So I happened to be on while that happened.
But he just don't have the numbers.
Nah, he don't.
He has the numbers in a few hits, right? He don't have the hits to go 20 rounds though.
And then even some of those hits are dated. Like when you hear it now, you're like, yeah, that was big back then, but you not really want to hear it now.
Yeah, but I can say the same for Ludacris songs.
Well, so what I would say is Luda had more of those kind of like mixtape records where he kind of went on someone else's.
Give me an example of a mixtape record.
I don't think it's actually a mixtape, but that Touch Me or Touch Me, Fuck Me, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't ever say Touch Me, Fuck Me to me.
Right.
Say that to me again, bro.
I don't know the name of it, but like I never like I forgot all about that song, but then he turned it on. I was like, ooh, yeah, and that beat rose. Like it's even to this day.
It was a song. I don't think that really holds light to it. Like if we're talking like top tier songs, like I don't think it's one.
But I think
it's not one of his
more or less
best.
One
of his hit best.
But it was catchy. I think it was one of his more trendy songs because at that point it was a lot of.
By today's standards, it's not a hit.
Okay.
By today's, like again, in that time, like you gotta understand, like, and what I'm saying, I guess, is it's
the Holiday Inn one.
That was Chingy though.
Well, he was on
he was
it.
A feature on it. So again, and that was again a thing is that like. Nelly just didn't really do features like that, and Luda was able to find somebody that was hot, get on the track, and hold his own. So it serves him. It served him and the person as well. But I guess to my point with the Touch Me Whatever record is that it was unique, and back then it was like nobody was trying to sound the same, and nowadays it's like a hit fits a certain soundscape.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like by today's standards, like most people, that song wouldn't ring off in the club. It wouldn't ring off at a party or something. I can't think of an environment that song would really work other than just around the house or in the car or something like that, right? And by today's standard, that's not really by today's standard. Because I listen to like car music and like just music that's just a vibe. But by today's standard of what a hit is, like it got to go off in the club or it got to go off in like a kickback kind of setting. And I don't see that song working in that. I'm just being real.
No, I'm just laughing at the kickback.
It gotta be like
that's very specific.
Well, it's not a party, but I'm trying to think.
Ain't
like,
that what you call? Ain't what you boys call y'all? Hang out? Oh, I thought it was a kickback.
No. It's a groove.
Okay, groove.
Yeah,
Okay,
grooving.
all right.
Yeah, but you could put kickback with Q's instead of K's. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of those. No need for those at our function.
You know, maybe want to be.
The only K's at our function are the pink and green ones.
Maybe want to be use the Queen's English.
Only K's at our function, the pink and green.
No, I get you.
But I digress. But yeah, so Luda had hits in the moment, but I don't think any of their music really translate or is like timeless per se. I think they have a few hits, you know what I'm saying, between the two of them that are timeless. Okay. But a lot of Luda's sound was so unique, like he didn't fit a soundscape. You know what I'm saying? He would just come out with something. A lot of Nelly's sound wasn't, the music business at that time wasn't what it is now. Now it's like you gotta have auto-tune, you gotta have 808s, you gotta have like certain elements to fit the radio kind of profile.
Okay.
Neither of them had that. So yeah, I can see how a lot of Nelly songs would sound kind of dated because again, it's like he's like, I like these chords.
And it was every third year.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, boom. He wasn't going to like, let me get Scott Storch to produce a whole album or something like that. It was, you know, so it is what it is. But it's just speaking to the battle, from what the timeline is saying, it seems like Ludacris won. And it seems like he won just off more of a popularity and just volume of his just having a greater volume of his records and having a greater volume of good records. Whereas Nelly had a few hits. I seen a lot of people saying Nelly was in there for like 7 rounds, but then after that it's like he gasping for air. He pulling at strings, like he playing, you know, Let Me See Your Grill and stuff like that, which for the time was like, okay, it's, you know, a kind of a hood classic, if you will, but wasn't a really, nobody's gonna say like this was a genre-defining record or a decade-defining record, right? It was just like, yeah, this was cool and he was on it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Same thing, Air Force Ones or whatever. Good record, but if we're saying like this is a fire.
What you think about, I know I don't want to jump too far off of it, but what you think about the old hubbub about whether A$AP Rocky or him brought back the Air Force One?
First of all, they're 2 different decades.
Yes.
I definitely think his song had an impact on like the popularity of Air Force Ones outside of places that were already rocking them. Because like Orlando, we won't wear Air Force Ones and shit. Okay. Louisiana, y'all was T's, Bows, and Reeds. Like,
we used to wear, we call them Uptowns.
I mean, everybody in the South called them Uptowns, but I'm saying like we weren't known for, like we had like all whites, like the fresh ones.
Pretty much that's all it was.
But Nelly and them was talking like the certain colors and the unique colorways and all that shit. Once Nelly did that, then everybody was looking for, I got to get the joints with the gum bottoms and I got to get this and that.
It was just a regular white, like a white.
There you go.
Yeah.
A fresh pair of Uptowns or some fresh ones or whatever, and that was it. That was the extent of it. Back when they was like $65 or something like that. Once Nelly and them boys start talking about them, prices jumped to like $140.
That was the point of getting them. It was like, just get a pair of ones. And we'll be good on the white shoes.
Yep. And then once Nelly and them boys, that's how I know that like Nelly he owned some stake to that. Because once Nelly and them boys had the music video, you had the different colors and all that, and then the price jumped to like $130, $140 for a pair, and our niggas is like, okay, usually it was like I get my fresh ones for like the whites, and then I'll get like a pair of J's or something for, you know, to match like wardrobe pieces with, right? You get some retro J's.
White go everywhere.
You're all whites, you're all blacks. It does, but I'm saying you usually have one staple shoe that was popular and expensive.
Just a clean shoe, like a Converse.
Dare I say, you could do an all-white pair of ones and an all-black pair of ones.
You could. I've never had a pair of black ones, though. I can honestly say that. All I had was white.
You ain't cut from that cloth.
Nah, I guess not.
You ain't cut from that cloth.
Yes.
I got a joke I want to make, but it's poor timing and poor taste. So I'll leave that alone.
I guess
I think Nelly got some stock there. Yeah. And ASAP, he might have brought it back for like the low top ones for like New York and Northeastern, the East Coast kind of vibe. But
so I guess
I don't think people ever stop wearing them either.
Exactly.
So
that's the thing. I feel like maybe in his, in his little niche area, people probably stop wearing them, but I don't think it went away. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where I think Nelly had more to do with it.
Especially at the time, yeah. Definitely.
But I can also say that maybe he brought it back to the forefront. Maybe it fell, Stan Smiths and Converse kind of started coming up at that point. Maybe he brought it back to the forefront, but I would still,
it was a hit record.
Go back to
Air Force Ones.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go back to Nelly and be like, nah, I think Nelly did more than you did, dog.
And again, Nelly kind of transcended cultures, which again is why he is so well off. Like Nelly is straight. It's crazy how straight he is.
Yeah, he was able to say, "Fuck it, I'm going on." I see y'all around.
I'm good. Like, and you saw it. Like, and even behind him, he had four platinum plaques just right there. And these are albums, right? This nigga went plat, or whatever. And it's, at a time where, and he was in a weird space in the industry where streaming was kind of, not streaming as we call it today, but like iTunes was kind of coming up. Yeah. And then record sales, so where people were kind of.
There's a lot of those Napster type stuff going on.
So he was still going platinum. That's why Jay, again, said it. Only people moving units, M-Pimp juicing us. So, but shout out to both of them though, man. I think it was definitely, for the few songs that I heard, it was a trip down memory lane. And again, I don't think this was a good battle between the two of them because it kind of put Nelly in a different light. And it had people looking at Nelly kind of funny, like, damn, maybe he wasn't, at least from what because he seems to be the butt of a bunch of jokes on a timeline. Sometimes. Some of that partially because of his internet connection. So that's his fault. Yeah. But
hey man, you rich man. You had you have no excuses.
Nigga don't know nothing about router placement.
Hey, but that's what you have your managers for.
And some of that also falls back on the servers too. It has nothing to do with internet connection.
That may be true, but that's what your manager is there for, man. You got people in place to handle that shit.
Nigga don't got no manager no more. Nigga ain't doing shit.
I think they still have managers and personal assistants.
But all that to say is I don't think Nelly was a good pick for Luda.
I just think they was boys, and they just like, we want to do one. I think that's what
possible.
That was.
That's possible too.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's exactly what that was, more or less. Boys saying we want to, like everyone else getting out, we want to get one. You know what I'm saying?
But who would have been a better pick for Luda to go against Luda? And I'm having a hard time picking that, but I almost want to say, I'm trying to think who was like consistent. I almost want to say Tip.
Probably.
I want to say Tip would have been a better selection.
That would have been crazy too.
Because they were around the same time. They beefed together.
And they had a little beef.
Yeah. But they both were kind of consistent in output. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The only other person around that time that dare I say, he ain't even in the ballpark is Lil Wayne.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too, but
that's
I thought about it. I was
like, Right? That's not even close. Like a Wayne,
like,
not even close.
T.I. may be able to get
50, I feel like. But I feel like 50 just kind of transcended again. He's like a tier above where I would consider Luda as an artist. Whereas everything he did was...
But then again, maybe that would have been a good one then. Because...
I don't think so.
I think he only had 2 good albums.
Who?
And then he had a lot of...
Who?
50.
But this nigga had features within
the
unit.
But same with...
It wouldn't even be close.
I don't know.
50 could put on Get Rich or Die Trying, which had, I think, 20 records or 19 records, and play all of those plus a record, that game record he had. This is how we do. Mm-hmm. And Luda gets washed.
Gotcha.
Because Get Rich or Die Trying that is a classic.
Yeah.
Like no skippable album, no record, right? Album. No records on that album would you skip. You would put it on and just let it rock. And there's songs on that album that ain't even meant to be hits. Like Many Men wasn't a single. But what's Luda go? Luda play Touch Me
How about
against
this?
many men?
Maybe,
it's a wash.
Maybe
Touch Me versus.
So would you say
questions?
that? Would you think
wash.
Luda and the Gang?
I think no. I don't think. Yes, I think it's closer, but I think Luda has had more commercial success than Game.
It's hard because I think about Juvenile, but I was like, nah.
It's hard. Luda washes him. Luda's got more. I think that's very similar to Nelly, right? If you do Luda, Juvie, I think it's very similar to Luda versus Nelly. Whereas, although Juvie does have hits, it has songs. I just think that Luda's were more commercially acceptable.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
the few that Juvie has, like Luda has nothing that's going to touch 400 Degrees. He has nothing that's going to touch
Back that ass up.
He has nothing that's going to touch Back That Ass Up. Like Pussy Poppin' to Back That Ass Up is not even a question.
Nah.
If you put on Pussy Poppin' on at a party and I haven't heard Back That Ass Up, I'm looking at you like, what is you doing?
Yeah.
Like the caliber of records these are, which is again, same thing with Scott Storch and Manny. It's like Scott Storch has a wider range of success, which you can argue he's more successful because of the wide range. I say, but when I go out, I don't hear Scott Storch records. I go out to a club or a kickback or a wedding, it's guaranteed Back That Ass Up is getting played 20 years later.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed that record's getting dropped. Whereas Scott Storch, do he have hits? Absolutely. He's got a bunch of hits songs I used to love.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, their place in time is kind of like nostalgic almost. And it's like, damn, that was a fire record that year. But here we are, 2020, and when the niggas say Cash Money taking over for the 9-9 and 2000.
Yes.
A nigga know where to go when you hear that. Or when you hear dum, 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 under whatever other song was playing.
Yeah.
We at the bar taking a sip and we hear that and it's like, hey, my man, hold on real quick. We gotta find something because it's about to be time to be over there.
Yes.
That's different. So I don't think Manny to Scott was a good battle either. You know what I'm saying? Manny Fresh would have went better with somebody who was more of a groomer of a specific culture.
Nah, probably no ID.
Not even him. Even but that's closer, right? But I'm trying to think of somebody who their sound is specific to a culture. Like Manny's sound, and that's not a bad thing. Manny kind of birthed the sound that is right now with all the percussion and the percussion taking, different ranges and notes. Because Manny was the first one that used to, even that Jeezy song, nobody was making drums play different notes. Manny was doing that shit. And now your bass line is like bass drums. They're 808s. The bass drum has become an instrument now, or like an instrument. Not a percussion, but an instrument. Okay. And that's in part due a lot to Manny Fresh. But I think Luda versus Tip would have been a better battle because they're both long careers, extensive hits. Consistent. But they did it.
You got that COVID, baby? They got that COVID in there, baby. You need some more of that brown, baby?
Damn, man, this episode was brought to you by I'm about to die.
Yeah, I hear it now.
Hey, man, we're going to take a brief commercial break.
Shit.
That shit went down the wrong pipe, boy.
Shit.
But I think the better battle would have been Luda and somebody like a Tip. Maybe even a Bow Wow. Hard saying, but
that's hard, bro. But Bow Wow did have some hits on his back end.
Yeah, Bow Wow's career wasn't as short as people make it out to be, but he was fired from pretty much.
He had a strong 7 years.
From like 99 to like 05, 06.
Yeah, about 7 years.
He had a pretty dominant career. So
and he initially, it seemed like he was gonna be able to manage the transition from child star to adult star.
Yeah,
like that. Hit Me on the Phone was kind of dope. What did it hit me on the phone?
That was Soldier.
No, yeah. That one with him and
Let me hold you.
No, the one where he had with Sierra. What was that? That was dope.
I ain't never had no.
Yes, that shit was hot.
Like you.
Like you, yeah. That was
dope.
dope.
Never had nobody do me like you. Whatever.
But apparently, I guess T.I. was writing that too, huh?
He was what?
I know they said T.I. used to write his shit. I don't know if it was when he was a kid or that.
JD wrote a bunch, Snoop wrote some. I mean, people was writing about shit when he was younger. I mean, it's true. And then he started writing his own shit, and we weren't fucking with it as much. So there you go. When other people was writing it was fire. And then when he, started getting all, kind of egotistical about it. Not egotistical, but wanting to live up to people's demands and stuff, then the music wasn't as good. And I think there's also some familiarity breeds contempt kind of thing.
True.
He was so hot for so long, people just want to see something new after a while. But
so I guess just what would you like to see in the future? Is there any verses? Because I missed most of. I happened to be out in the streets last Saturday for the Jill and Erica.
I didn't see that
one.
at all. But that to me is a closer battle. That's
what I wanted to see. I was like, this is going to be good.
That's closer. I'm mad I missed it. I've been missing a lot of stuff, man.
But I thought it was going to see. Last week I thought it started at 9, and that's why I missed that one because I was like, oh, I can hang out a little longer.
Yeah.
And I got home and it was already kind of like I got home and it was on like I saw the timeline. I was like, fuck.
I like how they could both play the same song, and that kind of shows you that they're kind of equally yoked, but not so much. But they could play that same. Whose song was that?
That Roots.
Yeah. You got me.
Yeah.
Because Jill wrote it, Erica performed it,
and then
killed that motherfucker.
And then Jill came back and did something to it too.
Well, Jill, she sang it after the fact, but it's like, but she wrote it, and what was recorded, Erica performed it. And
Erica did a good. Hey, that I still listen to that song. That's in the rotation.
Me too. Why can't I think of the lyrics right now? If I would, yeah, there you go. Worry about where I was, who I saw, or yeah, that's that joint, man.
Yeah, it go hard, bro. Like when that shit come on, I usually double back twice.
You know that you got me. Man, you about to hit my auto tune, man. Where my tune at?
We're gonna hit that, then.
Where my tune? Y'all lucky. Worry about what? Hit my tune, man. I used to do that bit back in 07 with T-Pain. But yeah, Luda, T-Pain and John was okay. That was a pretty close match, but
you said T-Pain and who?
Lil Jon.
Okay, yeah,
they did it. That was pretty close match.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. I didn't mind. That was close.
I just think you can't just look at two people that existed at the same time and be like, let's do these two guys. It didn't work out for them. You know what I'm saying?
You have anybody now though, like just thinking about it?
Nobody that would willingly do it. I mean, not really, because the people I listen to, like Cole wouldn't do it. He don't really pair up with nobody. Kendrick.
No.
I don't see Kendrick really doing it. You put Kendrick and Cole like they're again.
He'll probably have to go someone like Lil. Would he fit in the Lil Wayne?
Who?
Kendrick.
Hell no. No.
I mean, he has enough.
No, he don't.
Yeah, he does.
No, he don't.
I think he has enough
to go against who?
Lil Wayne.
He don't. He don't have enough that resonate with people. Kendrick. Now, don't get that twisted. Like I love Kendrick.
I give you that.
I love Kendrick, but like Wayne cannot even touch albums. Kendrick's only got 4 albums.
But he has a few mixtapes as well.
Yeah, he got mixed. I love his mixtape. I love like Overly
So he can go. He can go for a while. So who would you like? Who would he go well with then?
I don't think anybody.
See, it gotta be someone, man.
I don't think so, bro. And that's the problem. Like if you're gonna force a battle, then you force a battle. But I don't think like Kendrick kind of stands on his own in a lot of ways. Like that's like saying. Like if you pit him up against his contemporaries, like here's a good one. I think you could do like Sean. I think you could do Sean and Wale, like a big Sean and Wale.
Okay.
Right, which is kind of similar, but not so much. Like I even struggle saying like Wale and Crit because Crit is so far niche.
Will he be able to play his produced records as well?
he still don't have enough. Like Wale's commercial success is going to dwarf Crit's, and Crit's cuts that he really has are going to be like, although they may not have the commercial success, like you can't hold something to like a Children of the World type of song.
Do you feel like that could bring people to it, more people to it?
Possibly, but I just feel like, you know, his stuff isn't polished, and it's not supposed to be. It's that deep down kind of bluesy, you know, soul type of music, and if you into that, you into it. You fuck with it. Like Crit's core don't complain about Crit. You know what I'm saying? It's the casual folks that want him to do, you know, pop records, and you could tell, like when Crit forces like a pop record or tries to make a hit, you could tell. You know it. As soon as it comes on, you're like, okay, he was going for one with this.
He was trying to go for the
and
back.
You get it. And that's the same thing I feel like, not same thing with Kendrick, but I feel like Kendrick has records that are good records. He has a good catalog, but it's like, but who do you pit him up against that is a similar artist? And there's not really. He's kind of distinguished himself to that regard. So like you could try to force him up against like a Cole, but I'm like, but their music is not really the same. That's why that joint album they were supposed to be working on never came out, because I think that they just realized that, like, yeah, we're kind of similar in popularity and similar in numbers and performance that we do, but our target base is way out. Like Kendrick is way more artsy. Cole, I think where he sells is that he's just so relatable. He's a superstar, but when you listen to him, you hear yourself in what he's saying. Yeah. You instantly relate to it. Then when you hear Kendrick, you're just like, damn, like this is like it's so abstract and whatever else. So it's hard to find somebody to pit against him. Yeah. But I say like a Wale and Big Sean, I think would be a better battle. Who you gonna put up against Drake? You can't really.
Maybe he had to go. The teacher had to go against the teacher.
You talking Kanye?
Maybe.
I don't even think Drake and Ye would make for a good battle.
Why is that? They both got hits.
Yeah,
hits upon hits upon
generations hits. Though, the generation gap, and I don't.
So I kind of piggybacking off what I said earlier. I think it would just basically bring people to each other. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't disagree with that, but if you're trying to pick a winner, which they never really do, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're just trying to have a good night.
Oh, if that's all we're trying to do, then yeah. Well, I'm really speaking towards like the competition.
He's trying.
Yeah, I'm really speaking towards like what is a good battle in which people are going to be on the edge of their seat. Like people were on the edge of their seat with Nelly and Luda. That's not a good battle.
You said people weren't?
No.
Okay. I think people were.
People were just like, what is Nelly doing?
Lil Wayne, Drake and Kanye. All right.
You might be able to do that.
Drake and Lil Wayne. I mean, because Drake has been the hottest thing for the last 10 years.
Agreed. And that's not saying, it's not taking anything away from anybody when I say that I don't think they would make a good battle. It's just saying that, like, for like the environment we're in right now, like I think Drake's gonna ring off because he's more recent.
He's the biggest star.
He's got more relevant recent records than Wayne. So his stuff is going to seem like it trumps Wayne's.
I see what you're saying now.
You get what I mean? Like somebody gonna play Kiki, Are You Riding or whatever.
And I think that's a totally bullshit
resonates
song.
that resonates with so many people right now that people gonna be like, oh, that was my shit when it dropped.
That's a totally bullshit.
And then if I put on Dedication 2, it's not gonna ring off with the environment but when that came out, when Dedication 2 dropped,
I won't argue with you on that.
Especially with a nigga from Louisiana.
That shit go hard, nigga.
That hits you in a certain way because he on there being critical of government and shit, but he also got joints on there.
Yeah.
So, but when you just listening to it and you listen to
hits,
you.
I hear you.
It don't ring off the same.
But
then I could put on Drought 3 and say like, okay, well, let's take Drake's best mixtape and put it up against Wayne's best mixtape. Now, if you hold some regulations like that, put on Drought 3 and let Drought 3 ride, Drake has nothing to answer for that. I think if you're reading this, it's too late. Might be the closest thing.
Yeah.
But Drought 3 never lets up.
Yeah. Hey, man,
never. So, I don't know. Maybe that would be a good one. Maybe that would be. They did go on tour together. Didn't they do that Drake versus Lil Wayne tour or something like that? Okay. They could definitely go. And that's not saying Wayne don't have some cuts, but I just hate that, like, Wayne's gonna have to reach back 5-10 years.
But I feel like some of them ones when he drop it, that shit just gonna ring out. You know what I'm saying? Like that one with him and Gucci Mane, that shit was so fucking
Which one? The
man, fuck these niggas.
Oh yeah, but again, that's Wayne just killing somebody else fucking. But that was Wayne. At the prime of Wayne, it was either I'm gonna put this nigga on the song, he's gonna kill me on my own song, or I'm not gonna put him on it.
But
he's
Gucci held
take
his
my
own.
beat.
Gucci held his own on that one. Like it was totally different.
But Wayne wasn't originally on the song though.
Okay, I got you.
Wayne took it, put that on No Ceilings.
Bro,
And then Gucci's like, all right, man, come on, man. You know they draw him up for doing this shit, so I'm gonna cut you some, Sue, yeah, I'm gonna put you on this shit, man. Let me just put you on it. Okay, boom, and now Gucci kind of reaped some of the benefits. Gucci and Jeezy. I think that kind of suffers from the same a little bit, but I think
I actually like that one.
I think Gucci.
But the problem is that they just don't like each other.
They don't. And Drum tried to even have him with a phone call, and after that shit, I think Gucci called Drum like, "What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Don't do that shit no more, my nigga. Don't ever call me."
They just don't like each other.
Nah.
So. Well,
still
or should I say,
killing old boy.
I was about to say, yeah. I was about to say, at least Gucci is at a place where he's not ready to do that shit.
That will never be settled. I don't think.
No.
But as far as and Gucci trumps him in output.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting case where I'm completely
Jeezy just kind of resonates.
I'm completely like my argument that I just made for Nelly, Luda, right? Which I still stand with on that one. And this one somehow it works, I think, because Gucci has volume down packed on Jeezy. But somehow I feel like Jeezy has enough records because it used to be a point where you go to a club and it's a Jeezy set.
Yeah.
It's like 8, 9, 10 songs that's all Jeezy. And I don't know how because a lot of his songs are very slow, but they fucking rang off in the club. Yeah. But somehow I feel like those two will match up.
He has about 6 or 7 that you can play in the club and that shit goes. Yeah, he do. Because I work out to him. So, and there's only like a few of the songs that I be like, if I'm doing a certain set, like if I'm doing bench press or like squats, I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
But he has like, and the only ones I really listen to is 101 and 102. I think 101 and maybe 102.
Jeezy gonna give you 2 or 3 on each album, and he's got at least 5 or 6 albums.
That's what I'm saying. 6 or 7
plus Trap or Die, which was the first mixtape.
I ain't even, you know what I'm saying. So he, yeah, I can.
If we're going back as far as we juke, Jeezy got joints.
I agree with you on that.
Even So Icy, I give credit to Jeezy. If Jeezy and Gucci play So Icy at the same time,
and even what was that little group he was in? It was all Jeezy.
All Jeezy. Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood. It was all Jeezy, and there was some shit on that. You know what I'm saying?
Anything
like, bring it back.
5 in the morning on the corner clocking.
So yeah,
it would take it too long to lock up.
Yeah, baby. Hey,
that was short anyway.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, so that nigga. Hey, I remember that. I don't remember the mixtape before, but I remember the Boys in the Hood. I was like,
Trap or Die was the mixtape that really got Jeezy the buzz that he got. That's when Jay-Z was like, I gotta take a walk with this nigga in the park. And then when Jay-Z told that story where like some homeless nigga or something disrespected Jeezy, and Jeezy like, dog, I'll slap the shit out your ass, bro. Like, don't get it twisted. I know I'm here with Jay-Z right now. I'll slap fire out your ass. And then Jay's like, damn, I really kind of respect this nigga. Like he really not taking shit from nobody. But yeah, I think Jeezy and Gucci would actually be a good one. Wale and Big Sean, I think you can not compare the two, but I think they have a similar kind of career and trajectory. We're going over on everything today, man.
It's all good. This is actually a good conversation. I like.
We could definitely split the episode, get 2 episodes out of this shit too. But as far as music goes, let me think. I'm trying to think R&B. It's crazy. It just goes to show how like some artists, I mean, you got like some cotton candy, just kind of bubblegum here today, gone tomorrow. There's a lot of that. But as far as like the artists that have longevity, like R&B wise, if I'm thinking women, I'm thinking like Beyonce, Rihanna. But I feel like
I think Beyonce win that one.
I agree.
And I like Rihanna.
But I think she wins again because she resonates differently with folks. But I think Rihanna, like they're just two separate. I really think it depends on who shows up in the mentions, in the comments. But overall, I would like to think, and no disrespect, no slight to Rihanna, I like to think that's a wash.
I like Rihanna.
It's a wash.
Rihanna got hits.
You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is it's a wash to put them two against each other, even though they are probably 1A, 1B.
I would like to see. I think Trey Songz and Miguel would be decent.
I think that's a wash. Trey's favorite.
I like Miguel. So
I like them both. I think Trey, again, his target audience is more commercial.
I just think it would be a decent one on the R&B side.
I think Miguel. Who's got volume though? Miguel's got volume.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like they both got, and they've been there around the same time. And I think it'd be decent.
Trey got years on Miguel.
I think Trey may have 3 years on Miguel, max.
Trey popped in like 05. Or not popped, but he came out in 05.
Exactly. Miguel was like 08, 09. Because he had that first album, he was kind of weird. He didn't have his style yet.
Nah, I feel like Miguel first hit had J. Cole on it.
Yeah, that was like 09.
09, so that was
08, 09. Like they came together right when they were both about to fucking break. Like he was kind of early on J. Cole. So like Drake and Lil
I think
Wayne.
that was like 11 or 12. I'm gonna go off and say that.
Go ahead and say that. I don't think so. Maybe, I don't know.
All right, hold on. Let me see.
Yeah, go ahead see. Yeah.
All I want.
We gonna Google this.
We got to. Yes. We got to Google this one.
I think it was 09 because I remember
2010.
All right.
2010. So, it does nothing for either of our arguments. But you were pretty close. You said 08, 09. That's right there. So
I just remember it being early, probably in 2010. Now that I'm thinking about it, but niggas was really hard on like.
But Trey Day came out 07.
What's that?
That was a hard album.
That was just hard on Miguel's. Like when I say hard, I mean they liked it a lot. Like the offcuts, not the, you know what I'm saying, All I Want and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Let me think. Who else exists that could possibly? Ooh, nope. See, again, Frank Ocean. He's just too out there. He's too out there. The illusion is he's too big. I don't know that to be true. I'm not that big of a Frank Ocean fan.
Is he able, again, that goes to like I said about Big Crit, or is he able to use the songs that he was involved in and not necessarily his songs?
I don't think there's no comparison, and I don't see the similarities in that.
Like if he able to use the Jay-Z cuts and the other cuts that
if he's on the record, sure. But I don't think that helps Big Crit.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. It's not like Big Crit produced a song that Beyonce performed on. He didn't produce a super smash, genre stratifying, hit. And I love Crit. That's one of my favorite artists. I just don't think I love his production. Catalactica to me is one of the best produced albums like in a while as far as the total package of it. But I don't think that favors Crit. I don't think it helps him. That's like saying, can Cole include his production for other people? He get like, okay, what you got? High Power by Kendrick? Like that's not toppling anything. It's a good song. I like the song.
I just think it just adds to the catalog. You know what I'm saying?
It does, but for how people been doing it, like if you're gonna play a feature, I gotta play a feature. If you're just gonna play something I produced and I don't really have any other involvement from that point, I don't think most people wouldn't give credit to that.
All right.
Lend any credence to it, I don't think.
Okay. So right now we have Gucci Jeezy, which would never happen.
Never.
Wale, Big Sean.
Who you got? Wait, who you get the point to when Gucci and G? Ooh, we said Juicy J. Who could go with Wiz? Wiz could go with somebody. Wiz got longevity. Wiz and Luda would have been probably they two different generations, but same longevity, same hits, same kind of cult following.
I would say same longevity.
They both had hits on Fast and Furious soundtracks.
So, I give you that. I can give you that.
Wiz is a sleeper.
He he was like what they call it, like a comet. He burned fast and went away. So yeah, I can give you that.
Wiz ain't going nowhere. He just released something not too long ago.
I mean, I didn't know about it.
He's similar to Nelly. This nigga's records just hit, and he's like, I'm good. I can chill and put something out every 4 or 5 years and be all right. Like the way his business is set up and his music is set up and his lifestyle, nigga don't need to be on the scene all the time. He just don't. His hit with that Fast and Furious one, that shit broke all types of YouTube records.
Yep.
Billion views or some shit like that. This nigga, like, I'm good. I'm getting 7 cents off of every view. And I just broke 1 billion. So I just made 7 mil off of fucking YouTube views. No, I don't want to come to your award ceremony. I'm good. So, no. But Wiz would be a good one for to throw. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who to put with Wiz. Who else was big around that time rapping? All right, let's stick with what we know. We know Jeezy, Gucci. My question to you was, when they play So Icy, who you giving that point to?
I think they both get that one.
Come on, no way.
I mean, I feel like Jeezy shit rang out harder, but it is Gucci's song.
Yeah, but who you giving that point to? When the song come on, who part are you in the middle of the club pantomiming?
Like you keep saying a wash, that's a wash. That one's a wash.
So who you giving it to?
That's a wash to me.
What's the wash?
I mean, no one gets anything on that one.
Oh, no, I wasn't using wash in that context. I was using wash and like, this nigga washes that other dude.
Oh, okay. So you saying Beyonce washes Rihanna?
Yes.
I don't think she washes her. I think she beats her.
I think it's a wash.
I don't think so. I think Rihanna, because Rihanna has hits since the time she came out.
I'm not disagreeing with that. We're not. Everybody we're discussing has hits. I'm saying
she
that
has big hits too.
Yeah, but if people have to choose between Beyonce and Rihanna,
I think if they, depending on the selection, she can beat her a few times.
I'm giving Rihanna 3 or maybe 4 tracks, and Beyonce's taking the rest, which is exactly what happened to Luda and Nelly.
Well, I mean,
and again, I told you, that's no slight to Rihanna, because I just think that they're 2 different types of artists, and they don't really belong in a battle against each other, which is why it's not going to happen.
I put it like this.
How many anthems Rihanna got?
Prior to the Carters, I would say anything that, in my opinion, anything that her and Drake did was better than B and J. I didn't really like Bonnie and Clyde's.
Yeah,
that type of shit.
Okay, but what about the Drake and Beyonce record?
I don't really like that one.
Nigga,
Is that? Yeah, I don't really like that one.
You bumped it.
I didn't really like that one.
What proof is
this?
And that's fine. And that's fine. That's cool, because I felt that was. I don't feel like Beyonce really even needs to play that record.
I felt that was exactly. But I'm just saying, if they went to their corners.
What was that album that Beyonce dropped that didn't have a release date? Was it Beyonce? The one with Drunken Love and Beyonce and Partition.
I think she did it a couple times. I know she did it with Lemonade.
But I'm talking about that album. No, it was the one before Lemonade.
All right, so it was that one. And that was, like I said.
She plays that album. Let me just paint this picture for you. I don't know how many songs is on that album.
Yeah.
But Drunken Love, Rihanna's got nothing.
Drunken Love.
Partition, Rihanna's got. These are points that, like, Rihanna would serve best to put up a not so good song against.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
if she plays her best song,
I feel like she has to be strategic, and I think she can make it a game.
I don't think so. Because especially if Beyonce if she got Destiny Child too. Do she got them?
I don't know.
I think this is a one-sided battle. That's no slight to Rihanna, because she is clearly a megastar, and it's just who you're comparing her to that just lends to Beyonce's scale. Ooh, Chris Brown. Chris ain't got nobody.
I was about to say, I thought about him earlier. I was like, I don't know.
Chris got nobody.
Who he would go
nobody to pit up against Chris.
You know what I'm saying? Because he spans so far, so long.
Nobody for Chris. All right.
Maybe Trey.
No, Trey is getting washed.
I'm trying.
Trey and Chris. But that's what I'm saying, is that, like, we're just lumping people into these battles, and they don't really. They're just kind of self-serving for us just to see something, for some entertainment, but they're one-sided a lot of times. You just think of two people that might have some similarities, and it's like, as good as Rihanna and Beyonce are, it's gonna be one-sided. As good as Kendrick and whoever you want to pit him up against, you could say Kendrick and Game is one-sided. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, okay.
You could say Game and who did we try to put Game up against? Luda. That would be a better battle. Game had a run, Luda had his own little run, whatever. But like a Cole, you put Cole against somebody, it's gonna be hard pressed. You can put Cole and Kendrick, but that might be a good one. That might be. I can't right now, just off the top of my head, think of how that would go.
All right.
So.
All right. Well, with that said, I mean it's been a while, but don't be a square. Hit the share, like, love, thumbs up,
subscribe,
notification. On all our social media platforms, on IG and Twitter, that's HT Square Pod. On Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, under Hot Takes and Half Truth Podcast. And if you're truly new school, old school,
yes,
you can email us at htsquarepod@gmail.com. Moving on to the last run-of-the-mill topics. I mean, over the last couple of weeks, there's been some hubbub about TekashiSnitch9 and Boosie. We can start with Boosie because I know that's nothing.
Hopefully he's gonna be quick, and I mean it this time.
Yeah. My man actually been talking about this shit for a while, man. Like he said that shit probably 5 years ago.
Tell the people what we talking about.
Supposedly, allegedly.
This nigga did it.
yes.
He told you he did it.
He was open to having a grown woman and making sure a grown woman would take care of his son. And it seems like in the last week or so, something came out, him and his nephew, which is odd to me because I know his brothers and I don't. That nephew is so young, I'm sure it didn't happen to him. But anyway, neither here nor there. Apparently, people have had issues with that and been trying to get him in trouble, turn him into, I guess, the police, saying that he paid for a prostitute to service his underage son and nephew. I think kind of piggybacking off what the same episode from Brilliant Idiots earlier, I think Charlamagne said it best, that this is just a microcosm of, the community, in the sense that, and it's kind of sad in the sense that the earlier that you get some, the more manlier, in a sense, it comes off, at least in the community. And to his point, he said that, for all intents and purposes, that's a bigger issue in the sense that shouldn't be, we shouldn't be measured on that. But, it's one of those things that probably come back from, potentially even slavery. I hate to pull a black AF on this motherfucker.
Yes.
But, you know what I'm saying? Like, the earlier you were able to procreate, the more manly you are. So it kind of lends back into that kind of perspective. And, we kind of mentioned this earlier. I think maybe in pre-production. Boosie been talking about this shit for about 7 years now, since he got out of jail.
Fucking years, yeah.
So
forgot that nigga went to jail.
It's
been talking about it so long.
It's a big, it's a whole lot of nothing for me. It's not, and I guess it also brings into light how we look at our women as opposed to our, young men, in the sense that we want to protect our young girls from having sex too early, where it's kind of like a pat on the back the earlier you do it as a guy.
Yep.
And, but at the same time, I go back to what I already just said. I think there's a whole lot to do about nothing, and this is, a big to do about nothing.
I agree. I think people are digging this up just because of his recent comments, as far as related to Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union's child. So people are kind of, rummaging for other missteps on Boosie's parenting history.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think this is definitely one you shouldn't fucking tell anybody that you did, because I'm pretty sure it's against prostitution's against the law. So admitting to it,
at least in 49 states, I know that for a fact.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So admitting to it, is one thing, but then it just kind of highlights, some of the, in this instance, I don't know if phobia is the right word. I think that word is overused a little bit. So I just think that, it shows the disconnect and understanding of how homosexuality or whatever suffix you want to put followed by sexuality works in certain communities, and then it also shows the glorification of an over glorification of some things that we deem to make you more masculine or whatever, right? So
yes,
to your point, I think you not your point, but you said it right, that there's some kind of relationship drawn up where the earlier or the more women you get, the more masculine and more manly, right? And that doesn't necessarily ring true. I don't think it's true at all.
I guess it is, kind of, we talked about that topic. We had a topic about this earlier, but it kind of lends to the whole toxic masculinity.
Yeah, it can. It definitely can. Not saying, like you said earlier, right? There's exceptions to every rule. So it's not to say that there can't be a dude out here that's getting laid up like a ton, right? And it's all consensual. It's all healthy relationships, right? Not saying that it's anything else. He's not a womanizer, not nothing.
I found that he's getting laid the funniest.
Clearly. I hate when I try to make people laugh and they don't laugh, and then I say some shit seriously and then they laugh. It's like,
all right, man. All right, so back to what you said.
But I guess I'm
killing the women.
Yeah, I'm saying, that there's dudes out here that are being respectful and consensual and all that stuff, and still, having sex and healthy sexual relationships, and it don't make them more masculine, less masculine, right? It just is what it is. So the body count, I don't look at you no differently, like, oh shit, you the man, right?
At least once you get older. As a kid, you probably do.
Yeah, but this is coming from a grown ass man. True. So I think that's where the disconnect is that it's an adult man, that still hasn't grown out of these right, or not, still hasn't matured in thought from that same concept, right? There's a bunch of shit that when we was 13 and stuff that we said or whatever, and then as you get older, you're just like, okay, so it wasn't as black and white as things were painted for us back then, and you change and you adjust and you mature. So there's that. I just think, man, everything ain't for the internet, man. You don't always have to have an opinion on something, and then you secondly don't always have to share your opinion, because the world's not going to necessarily understand your opinion or understand where you're coming from and all that. And if that's your way of life and how you were raised and groomed, right? I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong, but there's a lot of places where just by changing geography, somebody's right becomes somebody else's wrong. Mm-hmm. And when you put that on display, then you're putting yourself up for the criticism of masses. And we could talk culture here all day, but some shit that what we deem to be completely wrong and oppressive over here is completely normal somewhere else. And who are you to say what this other person's culture is right or wrong, right? True.
It is their culture.
Yeah, it is what it is. And now if you want everything to be like America, then
it's another thing.
Right. And they can look at us. There's countries that look at us and they say like, well, y'all don't have health care. That's a very low-hanging fruit for most people. That's like, y'all don't even have health care for everybody. What are you talking about?
Facts.
You think you're treating everybody fairly, but damn, you just shot a black dude for jogging, right? People will hold us to that same light, and then you realize that we're not without sin, if you will, or fault, right? So to keep it non-religious. So, but in this, I just think, again, people are just reaching out to Boosie to find something to kind of find other reasons to kind of say like, he's a piece of shit or whatever. This is what I think people are saying, not my opinion of him. Like that comment that he had is rooted in toxic masculinity or homophobia. And probably
even that you brought it up, that Dwayne Wade situation.
Yeah, I think it's all tied. There's no other reason for people to dig back 5 to 7 years on him, other than they felt kind of hurt about his comments about that, and they're trying to show a pattern of this type of thought, right?
And I guess holistically, I would agree with Boosie on that matter, in the sense that I would hope that they wouldn't move forward with like gender real.
Yeah, but that's not what people heard.
After 18, before 18, like let the guy let her grow up to be an actual adult, and then start that process, which I think is like a 2-year process before they can do it.
Yep.
Like she rich, you're gonna be able to do whatever she wants to do.
Which isn't an illogical statement to say, but the problem is that
how you said it, and then it's how you said it too.
The two problems with that, right? The first is that Boosie made that comment
sometimes it's how you say it though.
But it was unsolicited. Like nobody was even talking about cutting off the young man's penis. And
that
Boosie
too.
just kind of heard one thing and he jumped out there for that.
He jumped to conclusions.
And then what everybody else heard Boosie
wouldn't do well on the ACT or SAT.
Yeah.
he didn't address the question at hand.
No. So and then the second thing is that as we're laughing at that, everybody heard his response and they jumped out and took that to mean that he was against transgenders, which he didn't say. He said something that wasn't even in the original address.
Yeah.
And
I mean, what he said was like, if you take it in context.
Yeah,
and I know we don't.
And flip the context on that to mean that he said he hates somebody. He didn't say that. He said don't cut. He was very specific, but what he was very specific about was not even addressed in the original thing that he was commenting on. Yeah. So that whole issue is riddled with like we heard something and how we internalized and processed it and what it meant to us personally, right? On a bunch of different levels. And I think this is just those people that felt something and they were hurt by what he said, coming back out and finding some other reason to say we need to cancel Boosie or not listen to him or whatever.
I think it's going to be hard to do him because he's so non-mainstream.
Yeah, and that's why people love him. I mean, people always love Boosie for his raw,
like he's so
unabashed
non-mainstream. It's hard to kind of cancel him.
Yeah, you can't cancel somebody who lives their truth. You can't.
Yes.
You can, what are you going to say? Tell Boosie like, oh, you said this 7 years ago. Yes, I did. He's not going to shy away from it. And the funny thing is that what people don't realize, everything in life is cyclical. So yeah, he might not be in favor right now, right? Because we're in this what some people would say is overly sensitive kind of society
PC?
right now. PC, there you go. But when it falls back in line where we're kind of seeing some of that right now with Trump, if I dare say, where people are gravitating towards somebody who's not afraid to speak the raw, unpolished truth, and now people are like, I respect a person like that or whatever, he's going to swing into favor at some point in time. And then you're going to be the minority in that instance, and then what you got? You got nothing. But right now, where it's still kind of popular to, kind of group think and let's group thought and cancel this person, let's do that. It works out for you in your favor right now, but the person living their truth, you can't really, unless he just blatantly just comes out and says something that's like, I hate this person, that person, this person, that person. I think you're pulling at straws a little bit, and you're probably better served to just say, you know what, the content he produces isn't for me, and just leave him alone, than trying to go this detailed, back channel way approach of, hey, this guy that served 4 years in prison for, whatever it was, attempted murder or something like that, let me tell you what he said, that you won't believe what he said. And then most people are going to be like, because the first part you said, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
This isn't a model citizen that we're talking about here, so why would I be shocked by that? You know what I mean? So, whatever. Shout out to Boosie, man. I fuck with Boosie. Set it off in this moment.
Hell yeah. Last topic of the day. Tekashi.
Snitch.
Yes, he is a snitch. I guess the hip hop industry's most famous snitch recently was released and went on 8 Mile type of offense on IG recently. Reportedly broke records, had 2 million people on the streams, and
Instagram Live,
yeah, and rehashed or started a beef with Meek Mill. I only bring this up because it was a kind of a hot topic. Over the last week with him coming back and people showing him some love. I guess in my view with this, you know, like he had his reasons. He said niggas was sleeping with his baby mama. They tried to kidnap him and his moms and try to kill him. And so in that is, he was like, you weren't loyal to me. You know, it is what it is.
No, it ain't.
You know, you were involved in that. Like once you get involved in that situation, you in it.
That's what you can't. There's no shortcut to respect.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that group of individuals is who you chose to do business with prior to gaining respect from them. So they saw you as food. They saw you as food the whole time. And when you didn't want to no longer oblige to them, when you started getting bigger and you realized you were bigger than them, right? Yeah. That was their means of controlling him, which, let me say, I guess from the get-go, I don't agree with really any of the activities that went on with any of this shit, right? True. So, but what I really don't agree with is that you sought after them to build your image.
Yes.
And this is all I'll say on this topic, because I don't listen to his music.
I haven't listened to anything after that first, Gummo? Is that what it was called?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what literally.
He had that one hit, and I was like, oh, that's kind of catchy. But that was before I knew who he was.
I honestly couldn't tell you any of his songs. I know he's got songs with people. Like I know he got a song with Nicki. I know he got a song with Tori. I don't know what
this was before all that. This was like the thing that blew for him.
All right. Well,
Gummo, I think it was called.
So you solicit these dudes for the imagery and for the branding and all that stuff. And then
what they say, you lie down with dogs, you get fleas.
There you go. So then, so now you get caught up in some street type situations, but that's too real for you. And you don't want to eye for an eye with these guys. You don't want to live that life. So you turn informant. You snitch on everybody, get everybody locked up, but continue with the persona.
Or try to continue with it at least.
He's going to continue because, again, if we know anything about like the music industry, once you
because reportedly he got a $10 million deal in October.
Yeah, but he's broken out of just where it's like black people support him.
Yeah, I just bring that up just to say $10 million. He's gonna be around a while.
Yeah, so he's made it so mainstream that like white people are into him, and once white people are into him, they don't live by the same rules that we live by. Our plight is their entertainment, unfortunately. So while Shotty and all these other boys is locked up for 10 or however many years, he's free, on Corona, fucking complications and shit, and just because he snitched on so many people. And the records are out there. I mean, he was pulling in all types of people. Cardi B, Jim Jones. I mean, he was just giving it up on a lot of people. And it's like, because this other, certain people turned against him. And it's like, but that's who you turn to help build your imagery at the cost that it costs. And because, you're the face of it, you're able to turn away from it and just say like, to hell with them or whatever. And I guess that's my whole issue with it, is that, don't use people. And this goes for both sides, I guess. Don't use people to catapult yourself in any capacity, but more so to him, because it's like you was down with the rah-rah and shit as long as somebody else was the person committing it and you had a way out, and then you could just simply say, well, I didn't pull the gun in Times Square. I didn't do this. That was him, but I told him to do it so that it helps my image. Because I believe they shot at Chief Keef Boy. Damn, my bad.
Chief Keef.
Yeah. I was going to say Mufasa. What's the name?
Chikada?
Nah. Come on. Damn, man. Our blackness is on display right now.
It is, man. We're going to take a L on that one.
It start with a...
It's
T'Challa.
T'Challa, yeah. I knew it was C.
Yeah, man. We'll call it forever. It's just been a while. But... So yeah, it's like you ordering all this stuff to happen so that it serves your brand, But then when it turns against you, like you won't shut up and just take the punishment. You know what I mean?
I guess my perspective, I guess I'll take it from the other perspective, from the guys that are in jail now. I just say this for all the cats in the future that may find themselves in a similar situation. When you start fucking with these motherfuckers, man, you don't bring them around that type of shit, first off. And your first mindset should be to try to legitimize yourself. How can you use him to do legitimate business and move forward? Because that essentially what you're trying to do is use that motherfucker to get out. So you can't bring him around that.
But Shotty was legit. Shotty was his manager, but it's just you had too much skin in the other side of the game.
Exactly. And he knew about it.
Yep.
That's basically what I'm saying. Like, yo, everything you do around him.
And even if he didn't know, he was just a witness. He was a high profile witness that, like, if he take the stand and start pointing at whoever, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, well, yeah, he said he was there for this and he said he overheard this. Like, we seen it kind of embellished on TV shows where it's like they just need a nigga to take the stand to. At
the same time, you need to look to try to, make that argument that, make the case that it's all legit. Whereas a lot of these motherfuckers, it was just literally, that's what they were muscle. That's all they were there for.
Look, man.
And they were living a life.
This shit ain't no different than the dope game. And it's crazy because I was hollering at a homeboy from back in the day a couple of days ago, and apparently there's some fucking recycle money pyramid scheme going on or whatever. Nigga was asking me about it. Man, you get 500, you get 4,000 in 3 weeks. Same shit as the dope game, right?
Yeah.
Same shit as the dope game.
That sounds familiar.
It's the pleasure of it's the possibility of a lot of money in a short period of time. But what is the risk on the back end of that?
Yeah.
Right? When you ain't got no money, somebody tell you 100,000 and you can make 100,000 in like a year. Right? That sounds like a lot of money. Or in a month. That sounds like a lot of money. But then when you get jammed up and you got to go away for 10 years, then you realize, damn, that 100,000 divided by 10 years is only $10,000 a year. It lends itself to scale. Like, that's not that much money for that short-lived amount of time.
Yeah, it's
over the grand scheme of things.
Like, it's like one of those things where, like, it's another topic, but it's like, that's why when it comes to like the whole Me Too thing, I feel like I won't get into that issue only because I feel like it's not worth it. Like, whether it's an actual charge, like someone's sex ain't worth going to jail for.
No,
it's just not.
It's not. It isn't. And so in the case of this instance, like if them boys was, if they was moving in the streets, they was probably all right. You know what I'm saying? They had a regular operation, bringing in some.
He was the weak
enough.
link.
But even before he even got there, like if you got a regular operation, you selling some weed, you selling a little bit. You ain't selling enough. You selling enough to make do, but to stay off the radar, right? You okay? Whatever you doing, you're okay. He comes through and it promises like this grandeur and things scale up, Oh, we ride around in Benzes and Bentleys and all that. One, that brings attention.
True.
Yes.
Brings, people that want to check into everything. How'd you get this car? How'd you get that? How'd you get this? Okay.
Where you get the money for that?
Damn, now I mention it. Yeah, you have been spending a lot on Jordans the past couple of years. It brings pressure that you don't need and attention you don't need.
I don't see you doing no W-2s.
And it sets you up to where now you're under the lens of a lot more people. Mm-hmm. And then in this situation, right, you scaled up too fast and then you turned on this dude that you thought would, they thought he was, afraid of them. And in turn, they also thought that he would abide by the same code that they live by, that he wouldn't want to wear this label, this scarlet letter of being a snitch. And this nigga is on Instagram like, hey, do this for me or I'm going to snitch on you. Like, he's joking about it, bro. Like, he's literally laughing about this shit.
8 Mile in it.
He's laughing about this shit in y'all face. And even though I think a lot of black people are saying, like, I'm not going to support this dude, I'm not going to do this or that, the machine, the white consumer is behind him now.
The thing about it is, if you on his IG, if you listen to the song on YouTube or anything, you supporting him.
You complicit, yeah. That's why I don't tune in none of that shit.
No, I haven't seen any of it.
Honestly, I started texting you back when you had this, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about this nigga, but I'll talk about it. But
the only reason I brought it up is because it was hot topic this week.
And then Meek Mill's point to it was like, don't even, Meek made a comment where he was like, a snitch killed Nip. Like, niggas like that ain't supposed to be on the street. They don't abide by the code. They don't live by the same rules and regulations that we do. It's them versus us. So this nigga lived his life, did everything wrong. He didn't stand up in the situation he was supposed to stand up in and do what he was supposed to stand up in. And because a nigga held him accountable for that, he killed him. He killed Nipsey because he made decisions to not be a man of his word.
And felt some kind of way
and
about
because
being called out on
Nipsey
it.
wouldn't look away from that because Nipsey had integrity. Now, you could say there's no honor amongst thieves. I've heard people say that kind of phrase, and that may be true.
Yeah.
That may be true. I don't know.
At the very least, is a catchy fucking phrase.
It is. It's cliche and it's catchy. But Nipsey had some kind of integrity about it. And because the nigga could stand across from you and tell you that to your face, like, hey, we don't give it up like that over here. You know what I'm saying? And then because you don't like that, because a nigga actually could stand 10 toes and tell you that shit, you off him. Like, niggas like that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you complicit in it, you take your licks and you live with whatever from that point. And that's the difference between damn, why am I drawing a blank today? What's your boy? Throw the hat up in the air. Bobby Shmurda. Them Shmurda boys.
Yeah. He coming home soon.
Yeah. But and let's see how he's celebrated when he comes back.
We'll see.
Because he took he took more time. So his boy could get less time.
Yes.
And didn't snitch on nobody and held everything down, and
we'll see. We will see. I mean, like and I guess we can end it on this, because I agree with everything you say. But like the big homie once said, man, you always be in jail, my nigga, just minus the bars. So
who the hell said that?
Jay-Z, yeah.
Okay.
You always be in jail, my nigga, just minus the bars, because he was talking about a snitch. Anyway, at any rate,
man, we hit y'all upon the dome with a 3-hour pod.
Volume 29. Volume 29 of Hot Takes and Half Truth. Again, don't be a square. Hit the share. Like, thumbs up, love.
Subscribe.
Notification on all our social media platforms, on IG and Twitter, HT Square Pod, on on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud on the Hot Takes and Half Truth podcast.
Yeah.
And if you're truly new school, old school, you can email us at htsquarepod@gmail.com.
That's it.
My nigga.
You can holler at me at Just Kingin on IG and Twitter.
You can get at me at I am Ivy Joe on IG and Twitter. That's Joe Jeaux.
Honestly, just hit me up on Twitter. I'm funner on Twitter, man. I'm more fun.
Yeah, you are. You do hit up a lot more.
On Instagram, I don't really post too much, man. I don't be doing shit. It's just me and the family. It ain't even my Instagram anymore. So just hit me up on Twitter at Just King.
Already. And again, you know what I'm saying? We'll be probably shooting some more products to you in the future. Be on the lookout for that. And we'll be doing more in the studio, baby. Live from the new, improved JKM Studios. Live from
It's been a while.
Sunny West Palm Beach, Florida. With that said, just like that, we're done. We'll try to do better next time. From the two of us to all of you. Talk to you next time.
Peace. You like a ring so that Kentucky Derby.